Coming up on All About Android, we celebrate 400 episodes, and we've got a bunch of surprises along the way.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by WordPress. Reach more customers when you build your business website on WordPress.com. Plans start at just $4 a month. Get 15% off any new plan at WordPress.com/allaboutandroid. And by LastPass, secure every password-protected entry point to your business. Join over 43,000 businesses and start managing and securing your company's passwords today. You can learn more at LastPass.com/twit. And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, introducing Rate Shield Approval. If you're in the market to buy a home, Rate Shield Approval locks up your rate for up to 90 days while you shop. It's a real game changer. You can learn more and get started at rocketmortgage.com/Android. Whoa, that was unexpected. Welcome to All About Android, episode 400, as you see on the screen there. Recorded on Tuesday, December 18th, 2018, your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
Whoa, Ron Richards in studio.
Flew in for the 400th episode.
And over here in this seat is...
Not Flo.
Oh, it's not Flo. It's an empty seat. Unfortunately, Flo is not here. She is in Romania, where it is 3 a.m.
She is, but we're going to have a special guest fill that seat shortly to join our other special guest because it's a holiday All About Android homecoming for the 400th episode.
That's right. We decided to go all like holiday TV show spectacular.
Everyone come home.
Today.
Everyone's coming back.
Everybody's coming home for the holidays.
As many as we can.
Joining us tonight, of course, we have to my left over here in a screen, Gina Trapani, GinaTrapani.org. How's it going, Gina?
Hi, it's so good to be here. I've just been grinning ear to ear watching the opening play. How are you guys doing?
Listen, Gina, I can tell you it's like this every week since you've been gone. We're just laughing and screwing up and taking 45 minutes to get started. Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. It makes me it's so reassuring. It's so good to see you all.
Welcome home to where nothing works. Also join...
Except our Android phones, which work amazing.
Oh, yeah, Android phones. They never break. Also joining us, the screen to my right, you may remember him, none other than Chad Johnson. How's it going? OMGchad.com. How you doing?
Going great. You know, I get older and older, but Skype problems still stay the same.
Welcome to our bitter reality.
What's funny about that is that you do get older and older, but you don't look aged a day, Chad. You are. I don't know what you're doing, but I want to get on that diet. It's just sitting in Minecraft all day, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it keeps you young, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's all about Fortnite, so I do kind of feel like an old guy in my Minecraft ways.
Yeah, you're going to have to evolve.
I will say that in the last couple of months, I did tell the story about when you explained Minecraft to me. Here at the Twit Studio. Remember when I was just like, I don't get it? It was a whole after the show bit that went on. That was one of my most cherished memories of All About Android with Chad.
Back behind the controls, of course, we have Victor joining us this evening. Victor, it's always great to get you on and to have you pushing the buttons. Thank you for creating that open, by the way. I had not seen that.
It was great, Victor.
Oh, no problem. And I'd like to say thanks, Chad, for making me a cool uncle. Like some of my nephews saw you at a convention. And I was like, I used to work with that guy. And they were like, really? And I was like, yep.
And he scored 2 points that day.
Yep.
My nephews mauled Chad at a PAX a couple of years ago and said hi. And they told me that Chad was super nice and also made me seem like a superstar aunt. So thank you, Chad.
That is amazing.
Of course. Heck yeah.
We are going to spend some time kind of diving into what everybody's been up to.
I thought we were going to dive into how nice Chad is.
We're going to spend at least 5, maybe 7 minutes on the niceties of Chad. But first, you know, honestly, I will be completely honest. I really didn't pay attention to much of the news, but I will say that we do have some news. So we might as well kind of get geared up and play the breaking news. Or sorry, not the breaking news. That might come later. It's time for the news.
It's episode 400, and boy, do we have an action-packed episode for you. I'm feeling a little rusty. It's good to be back.
Go ahead and say Android news.
Oh, Android news.
Very good. Welcome.
The original Android news
Voice.
Hey,
Bryan Burnett at cranky_hippo.com here in the studio.
I know. It feels like I'd never left. I had Burke yelling at me as soon as I came through the door. So
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Bryan, sit still. Hold your phone here. Okay. Thanks, Burke. Good to see you too.
So this is amazing.
Oh, what a homecoming.
It's going to be hard to not smile through the course of this entire episode.
But we might have more special guests throughout the episode,
possible.
right? Maybe.
It's possible.
So you never know. Stay tuned.
You know, there are surprises hidden around every corner.
Keep watching
in this
and/or
episode.
listening.
First, you set it up, and that actually means that we do have some news. And let me tell you, top story this week is that Mark Rober, a NASA engineer, actually designed a package thief bait, if that makes any sense, designed to spray glitter and to spray fart smell while recording the entire experience with 4 LG phones. He's an engineer, so he built this whole setup that is basically meant to be placed onto someone's, namely his step, where he had an experience where someone stole a package off his step. So he created this thing, and the way that it works is that inside there's the gyroscope on the computer will detect if there's movement, and that fires up the GPS to see if it's actually moving away from the step. And if it does, then this array of 4 LG G5s that are positioned perfectly to capture everything that surrounds this package start recording and also start uploading to the internet. So in essence, basically he's able to kind of capture the package thief's entire process, and then getting surprised by the fact that they get sprayed with glitter. And fart smell starts going off every 30 seconds. So that incentivizes them to, get rid of it, throw it out the window, and then he can pick it up and do it again. It's the most amazing video, I have to say.
It's the most over-engineered prank I have ever seen, and it's glorious.
It's super glorious.
He has
a
custom-built circuit board for it. He has this whole design where it spins, and it shoots this. This isn't just regular glitter either. It's like the most fine glitter you can possibly buy. It gets into everything, and it's almost impossible to get out of anything. You can tell this guy worked for NASA, because nobody would have put this amount of time into such a simple prank. But the results that he got from it were awesome.
That's crazy.
So you just end up with Chad.
I didn't get a chance to watch this video. Are his 4 phones still stolen at the end of the day?
No. So and that's why the fart smell. So basically, he devised this little system that every 30 seconds it will do 5 sprays of this really potent fart potion or something,
so they don't get far away.
Yeah. So that they're in the car and they're like, "What just happened? I was just sprayed with all this glitter," and then suddenly it starts sinking to high heaven.
Oh God, look at that!
And they're like, "What? What just happened?" So they don't want to hold on to it. They don't even want to explore it, because every 30 seconds it just gets stinkier and stinkier.
And if it happens inside a car and all that glitter in the car, oh my God!
Well, it didn't just happen in someone's car. People took it home too.
Yeah.
So there's a guy who had it on his couch, and it sprays everywhere. And most of the time, once the fart started going, they just would throw it in the garbage, throw it on the curb, and the fact that he has the cell phones too, if they were to destroy it, he'd still be able to get the footage back from it, because they start uploading to the cloud.
Yeah.
So it was pretty ingenious.
It's amazing.
I also do like that he's using Android as a solution and using Apple as bait.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's so interesting that I was just going to say.
Right?
You could, I don't know if you could rig that up with iOS, but yeah, a HomePod.
Yeah,
I love
or
the part where
would
he's
he have the same
"Dude,
results?
Look at my car.
Would he have the same results if it was a Google Home Max? Or does anyone...
I heard he did, but nobody took the package.
Right, yeah.
He had to know. Yeah, he had to know.
No, but like Bryan said, that I actually had the pleasure of working with a NASA engineer on a project, and those guys are just on another level. So
No
smart and so brilliant, but also the way they look at the engineering world and all that, just amazing.
It wasn't just for a prank. It was a piece of artwork that he did too. I watched some of the other videos he did. He has a dartboard that will move depending on where you throw the dart, so it always gets to a bullseye. This guy was way overqualified for this.
Like you said,
thing.
a piece of art. Honestly, that reminds me of the Banksy, the girl with the balloon auction prank that he did, where as soon as the auction ended, the painting went down into a shredder.
Yeah.
Genius.
So genius. I love it. I love it. So that's about as close as you're going to get in this episode to news.
And
literally, that's all the news we have.
I will confirm it. Earlier today, I Googled Android News, and there was nothing else of them.
Yeah, well, what were those phones? Weren't they like LG?
They're LG G5s?
G5s or something? So they have the ultra-wide lenses on them and
exactly.
stuff?
You mentioned and got it kind of propped upwards so that you got that true kind of 360-degree surround view with the wide-angle lens and everything.
And you can get a used
Android.
G5 on eBay for $66.
Well, there you
so
go.
you could do this at home too. So
smart.
Go to school, get an engineering degree, get hired by NASA,
buy glitter.
buy glitter.
Make sure
But
you
the
get
good glitter, the
weaponized
fine glitter.
dust glitter. Yeah.
Exactly. Don't get the cheap
How
stuff.
do you get the good glitter? I'm ruining my search history, by the way.
Yeah, Ron is really into searching on this product called Google today. It's been the source of all of his information.
I'm slowly turning into my parents. That's what I'm finding out.
I don't know. Did you put it in?
Looks like you searched for glitter that will make me hate my life.
So let's spend a little bit of time kind of catching up with everybody, because obviously we have not seen. Well, I mean, you guys see me and Ron pretty much each and every week on this show. You haven't seen these three other people in a really long time. So, and you guys are all leading mysterious lives. You're not leaving them yet, as far as I know.
You want to leave them mysterious.
Although maybe you have an announcement, I don't know.
For later, how can you? Oh,
Do you have the breaking news bumper ready?
Leaving news. Chad, let's start with you. I mean, you're a YouTuber now. You're
a celebrity.
You're a celebrity. People know you. What's going on?
So yeah, OMG Craft has been going wonderful, and this year I went to, I believe it was like 10 different Minecraft events all over the country, actually all over the world. I went to Ireland for one of them.
That's amazing.
Then I had the supreme honor of co-hosting the one official Minecraft event for the year, which is Minecon Earth. And so that was, we went and did, that was like the event that all Minecraft people watched in order to get the latest news. And then things are still going great on Twitch. I do about 2 streams on Twitch a week. I started streaming for hospitalized children through a company called Zott, Z-O-T-T. And that just goes to kids who are in hospital. I do that once a week. And then the Gizwiz is actually wonderfully still going on. Me and Dick are doing a weekly show still, gizwiz.tv to check that out. So yeah, things have been going really great.
I'd never heard of Zott before. I'm so happy, by the way, that you're still doing the Gizwiz and everything. But I want to kind of head back to Zott a little bit.
I do earlier we were talking about how nice Chad is and how great Chad is, and of course he's doing something like this with Zott, which is awesome. Which is continuing how great and nice Chad is.
So
That's true.
Yeah, explain this a little bit. So you're creating a specific show for kids who are hospitalized. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, and I think it's Zott, ZOTT.TV, if you want to go to it. Let me just, Zott.TV.
Yeah, it is. We confirmed it.
So it's the idea. It started, I'm trying to think of a really long story and how to narrow it down. Basically, I worked a lot with a charity called Game Changer Charity. And I had raised money for them and then done a few streams for them. And they basically found that there's a lot of children in hospital that the only thing that they have to entertain themselves is the television on the wall. Mm-hmm. Is either you might have families that are of low income and they can't afford to leave their phone with their kid all day, or even if you're high income, sometimes the hospital wants to make sure they have their Wi-Fi so locked down that kids can't even go to YouTube because they can't vet any of the videos that the children might watch. So doing their charity work, they saw this problem, so they created a a business called Zot, which is actually like 100% of the proceeds of Zot will go to benefit Game Changer charity. And the focus is to give kids entertainment and just a place to escape when, some of these kids, so I do a live stream, an hour and a half long live stream every Tuesday. And I see the same usernames week after week after week. I've been streaming for a year on the platform, and I see the same usernames for a year, which means that there's a child who has been in hospital for an entire year.
Oh, jeez.
And you can't imagine how boring it is to be in a hospital room for that long. And so they can use this platform, which hasn't existed, which couldn't have existed before, and that hospitals wouldn't allow to exist unless it was completely locked down, moderated. Every stream is moderated by a paid professional to moderate. And they also do training for us to make sure that we stick to topics that are not traumatizing. They vet the games that we play to make sure that we're playing a certain subset of games. So it's really this amazing platform for hospitalized kids that just didn't exist before. And also on the platform, they can do specific things like give games away. So they can so you kind of see on that iPad screenshot, there's a tab that says games. And so they'll give games to the kids so that they can play them on their device in their rooms. There's a live streams, movies, television, all that stuff. The education tab is really interesting because there may be something the hospital has produced, like how to change a bandage by yourself without the help of the nurse. And it gives you a step-by-step video, which can't really be shared anywhere else. You can't. It doesn't really make sense to put that on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So there's it's just an incredible. I can't talk enough about the platform. It's really, really awesome. Right now, there's at least a streamer every weekday. So there's at least one streamer every weekday. Sometimes there's two streamers on specific days. And they also, all the streamers are different. Some of them are I think it is little Shia, I think is her name. She does Just Dance. She focuses on Just Dance, the game, to get kids out of the beds and moving around. There's people who are artists or musicians and stuff like that. It's like,
that's amazing.
The best.
That is really
That's
cool,
awesome.
Chad.
That's
Chad.
amazing.
So great, Chad.
Awesome. I love it.
Thanks.
I'd never even heard of that before. So that is
Can
really
they
cool.
watch it on Android tablets?
Yes.
Hospitals? Okay,
absolutely. Good. Yes.
And so
looking
it's
for-
an Android tablet.
Just looking for a hook.
Always looking for the connection.
In fact, Game Changer had a really good connection with Amazon, so they're probably watching on like Fire tablets, like most likely.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what happens is you'll get a child who's admitted to the hospital, and there's a team called Child Life experts, and they would come to the room and train the kid on how to use the whole platform, which is really, you don't really have to train normal kids nowadays. They know how to use.
Kids know how to use those
They're
things.
swiping and tapping and
You're training the parent really that it is going to use this tablet, and they leave it in the room so they can play around with it.
Yeah. Right on, Chad.
Cool.
That is amazing.
That's awesome, Chad. It's an awesome use of your talents and reach. It
Absolutely.
really is. It's admirable.
I love it.
Absolutely. That is cool. Well, Gina, what have you been up to? I'm trying to think of the last time that we brought you on. It's probably close to a year at this
While
point,
ago.
right?
I'll figure that out. Well,
I think it was the last episode last year. I gotta tell you that Chad streaming for kids in the hospispitals. That's a tough act to follow there.
Yeah, I'm so
is hard to
glad
follow.
Jason didn't say anything about me.
so Gina, it's literally been 364 days since you were last on. You were on December 19th.
So basically the
2017.
same episode last year.
That's wild. We're gonna write that wrong in 2019. I'm gonna be on a little bit more often. Yeah, it's been a good, busy year. I've been kind of heads down at my jobby job. I'm here in New York City. I'm a managing partner at a digital product studio called Postlight. We're in the Flatiron District in Manhattan, and I've been having a lot of fun. We build websites, we build apps, we build platforms. I'm trying to think of something that we shipped this year that would be interesting. Oh, we built the bird watching app, or we rebuilt the bird watching app for the National Audubon Society, which is a nonprofit focused on conservation. So you can bird watchers, serious bird watchers, casual bird watchers. You can identify birds and listen to. I think it's like up to 800 birds based on their characteristics. You can search on various characteristics and listen to their calls and see photos. And we actually shipped that on both iOS and Android. We used React Native actually to ship it on both platforms. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, and we build websites. We redid the Players Tribune, which is Derek Jeter's.
Oh yeah, it's the sports. The whole sports
the
thing.
Sports site. Yeah. I actually myself I was allocated that, so I built a lot of the back end there.
Cool.
So I've just been having a lot of fun. Yeah, talking to clients and building for clients has been really interesting, being kind of an agency, digital agency, because you just have a lot of different people with a lot of different kinds of problems in different industries looking for different things. So you really kind of get to get a little view into what's happening in lots of different places.
Well, that's the big challenge now for companies, is that there are companies like Audubon people. The National Audubon Society. Technology is moving so fast, and they're staffed with bird experts. And if they don't have an Android expert on staff, they can't make an app, so they've got to go to somebody who knows it, and who better than to go to an agency that's got your amazing talents. And so it's great.
It feels good to be able to help out in those situations, particularly nonprofits. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, they came to us with 800 birds and calls and photos and descriptions and said, "Please make this work." Their app was pretty far out of date. Yeah.
I will say, looking at the Audubon. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Looking at the Audubon Bird Guide posting page on the Play Store, I'm impressed by the fact that I think that's a Nexus 5, is it?
It does look like a Nexus 5.
Nexus 5 device is the demonstration device. The app looks really good. And hey, you can always use a Nexus 5 as the
greatest
device.
phone ever.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, honestly,
one of the best.
One of the in the All About Android Hall of Fame, the first entrance was the Nexus 5. Is the Nexus 5. So,
according to Ron,
it is the Ted Williams of Android phones.
It's true. It's really true.
Is that sport ball?
Yeah, that's a good baseball reference. For all of you. How many days till pitchers and catchers?
I have nowhere to go with that one. So I'll go to you, Brian.
Me?
Yes, because you've had a lot of changes.
Mr. Cranky
in your life post-twit.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm pretty much doing the same thing I was doing here with the technical directing and stuff, but I do it at Facebook now. So I've been doing that since. Well, here's the interesting part. I got hired last February, and that's right when the S word hit the fan there. So for me, it's been really fascinating. But as far as what I've been doing, so doing the technical directing, the TriCaster, knowing all that stuff helped me get a job there. As far as
a TriCaster there,
I don't use a TriCaster. I really miss the TriCaster actually.
It's probably like a Grass Valley system or something like that.
It is. It's more of a TV production background. So I'm doing the Grass Valley switching for them, and then they Facebook is such a huge company that they do events every week, and they don't even do it just for their own company. They do it. They bring other companies in and stuff, and so. Basically we do the streaming. They have their own version of YouTube that they upload all their videos to and stuff. Yeah. So it's just less time in front of the camera. So I feel a little rusty as far as that goes. But pretty much
brights are pretty light, aren't they? Aren't they, Brian?
Right. They're right. But there's no lag, which I can appreciate. But the only thing that kind of sucks is the commute. So I still go down from Petaluma all the way down to Menlo Park.
So that's the thing, is that we in this wonderful as much as I like the internet and social media and things like that,
I know.
we're all in the same kind of online campus and whatever. Yeah. But while I don't explicitly talk to any of you on a daily basis except for Jason, I see you and I'm oh wow, is he commuting to Facebook from Petaluma?
Yeah.
And every time I see that on Instagram, I'm I feel so bad for that guy. Especially because my commute to work, to work is 3 subway stops. So I feel super I've got 10 minutes at best. But
so I told myself I'd give it a year, see how I felt about it after that. And they just opened up an office in SF, so I've been checking out that campus and stuff down there. And that's okay, that's only an hour.
That's a huge difference, right?
That is a big difference. That is a big difference. But I get to play with a lot of really cool toys.
Nice.
I miss you guys definitely and hanging out in the studio. But it's it's basically this, but just on a much larger scale.
Is it more stressful?
It's actually less stressful. Yeah, it's less stressful. There's a lot less pressure because the props to Victor because when you're back there, you're doing the cutting, you're doing the audio, you're calling people on Skype, you're pulling up websites, you're following the rundown.
Yep.
When I'm doing an event,
you're just camera 1, camera 2.
I've got like a team. I'm doing just the cutting. I've got a guy doing the audio. I got a guy doing the video. Like I don't have to worry about it. Like I have people working with the client, like calling people on. They don't use Skype, but basically like Skype. And so it's like a lot less pressure.
So it's interesting. I haven't had a lot of chance to talk about this because I try to keep it just to Android, but at the job I'm at now at Marvel, we built a digital video studio in our office in New York, and we have a TriCaster, and there's a studio director who's also our TD, this guy Tony, who's great, and you're all cut from the same cloth. And for some reason, the TDs are the people that I like. I just love. I love him. I love Chad. I love you. I love Victor. Like it's just like you guys, because of that multitasking and technical knowledge, and it's also how to run a show and do all that stuff. It's a really hard discipline that doesn't get a lot of I guess thanks. It's kind of and so
I appreciate that.
400 episodes. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Bryan. Thank you, Victor. Are the all-stars of TDing the show. You guys deserve a pat on the back. Definitely.
Yeah, do you miss it at all, Chad? Yeah, have you switched anything in a while?
I actually literally did. We did a charity, a 48-hour charity live stream, and they had Black Magic. Gosh, what are they called? I forget the name of their switcher, but it was like sitting down, it was like an instant like, oh God, I remember the feel of these buttons. Like I remember like everything. And that was also like, that was kind of a fun little pat on my back because people are running around crazy doing stuff. And it was very much like Twit where we had so few people on the behind the scenes. And so I just sat down and started switching. And like, there was like 2 or 3 people that were like, well, this is not.
Wait a minute.
Like,
What's happening?
like
This is a skill I didn't know.
Exactly. Like it was the weirdest like skill to pull out and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah, whatever. I was like, where are your chyrons? How do you deal with those? So they're like, oh, this. I'm like, awesome. Okay. How do I change your super source?
Where's the American flag wipe? I need that.
Where's the explosion wipe?
Yes, exactly. The important questions.
Well, do we have some breaking news?
Yeah, I think we might actually have some breaking news. So, let's break it.
I want you say pie.
Oh, I like this new one.
I want pie.
You want pie?
It's another problem with the TDs that they don't know when we're going to say it's breaking news.
Yeah, sorry. Joining us on the edge of the screen today at 4 a.m. in the morning is Florence Ion.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Flo is literally, this is like the homecoming, like the member of the family who's been abroad and is coming home, except Flo went from home. I'm here, and now Flo is in an undisclosed location in Europe.
I'm in the homeland.
She's in the
It's
homeland.
fine.
You've
I'm in
returned
the
home for
homeland.
Christmas.
That's where I am. And this is for my Airbnb host gave me a little tree over here, which is very cute.
Very nice.
Very cute.
Very nice. Very cute. Very European Christmas.
And does it feel like 4 a.m. to you right now?
Yes. It does.
How long have you been there?
Which is good because that means I'm getting on the time. I've only been here for 1 day.
Oh, wow.
I got here yesterday in the morning.
That's a quick adjustment.
I learned how to force myself after all those MWCs.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
Honestly.
That'll do it. That'll
It taught me a little bit.
It's so awesome to get you on. How long do we have you for? Are you going to join us for the rest, or what?
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm just hanging out in this Airbnb that is unfortunately not the best studio lighting. But listen,
hey, we have you
it's-
on. It doesn't matter. This is amazing.
So, Flo, we're catching up with all of our former hosts. So, what have you been up to since you left All About Android last week?
I've been flying a lot.
Okay.
I flew 24 hours to get here.
Oh my goodness.
It's a long haul.
Holy cow.
It's not easy to get here from California. There are no direct flights because not a lot of people come here for reasons. So it is, my family is like freaking out because I'm here in the flesh because they haven't seen me in 10 years. So it's been really interesting. Everybody's like, oh my God, Flo is here, which makes me also feel kind of special. So
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
It
great, really nice.
It's great catching up, Flo. Thanks for coming on. But
well,
no.
I did want to add something quickly that yesterday I saw a billboard for a Romanian Android phone that has a Romanian-built assistant. So I'm going to try and get my hands on one of those things while I'm here and bring one home because I'm very curious.
So when you say get your hands on one, do you have to like find a guy in an alley and like
Yes.
how does that work in Romania?
Yes, exactly. Or an authorized reseller.
They're the same person.
I'll try to do the second methodology.
What is the brand name? Can you is it Romanian?
I think it's called Allview, if I remember correctly. It's like some generic tech name.
That is pretty generic.
And just billboards everywhere that go, this is a Romanian-built first voice assistant. So, and people here are very proud.
Allviewmobile.com would be.
Yeah.
And
Did you find
they have up to 40% discount on selected products right now. Just saying, it's a holiday special.
Season, so.
Is that our sponsor for this episode? Go to allviews/allaboutandroid.
This opportunity.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, the Soul X5 Pro is for sale. It has a notch, by the way.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't
have
even notice.
watches.
They have a smartwatch too.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go see what I can get of this because this is what I was hoping to find when I got here. I was like looking for some Androidy, and my mom's like, "Look, a billboard. We have our own Android version."
Android is here too.
Maybe you can get the watch and then complain about how it's too big for your wrist in Romania too.
Yeah, I could do that. I don't think anybody would appreciate that. I should also mention there are Huawei banners everywhere, which is a trip because we don't see those in the United States.
Yeah.
Because they're banned.
Just goes to show Huawei is a huge global brand.
P20 everywhere. Like the P20 is the flagship phone to get, not the Samsung phone, not any other brand. It's the P20.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a different world.
Yeah.
A whole new world. All right.
Should we get to the email?
Awesome to have you on, Flo. Stoked that you're going to make it through the rest of this
Thanks,
episode.
guys.
Yeah. Well, before we do the
working
email,
this
now
out.
that Flo is here, before we do this email, Flo, Jason, congratulations, 400 episodes.
Woo!
Good job.
Yay.
All right.
Congratulations.
And that's we'll get more of that later, but that's also the topic of this email, as our good friend Richard wrote in and says, "Hey, AAA crew, I just want to say congratulations as you prepare for your 400th episode. It can't be an easy task to keep it fresh week after week. You have no idea. As you discuss the latest Android news, apps, and hardware, and what it means for users. I learned something new from every episode, and I just wanted to say thanks. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next. Wishing you all the best, the cheeriest of Christmases, the happiest of Hanukkahs, and the quasiest of Kwanzas." Sorry about that last one. Happy holidays, Richard. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
And thank you, Richard, and all the everyone watching now live, everybody listening on their podcast feeds or watching on YouTube or watching on the Twitch website. Without the All About Android community, we would not be here. So,
that's right.
We thank you for 400 episodes.
Yeah,
so
thank you so much. And without our sponsors, we wouldn't be here either. So let's take a break, thank the sponsor, and then we'll get into some other fun discussion. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by WordPress. If you're looking to build a website, you really should check out WordPress, to be honest, because you're going to find WordPress all over the internet. You've visited these sites, whether you realized it or not. WordPress is everywhere. It allows you to create the ultimate online hub that is truly yours. It gives you room to grow as you aim higher, as you want more out of your site. You have that room. You can turn your vision into a reality and then, of course, launch your website on WordPress.com, where you can choose from hundreds of designs. You can match your vision, maybe establish your brand. It's all super important. No matter how much design experience you have, you can do it easily. And that's kind of what it's all about. They give you the tools to make it easy. It's hassle-free. WordPress takes care of the hosting, the security, and the software updates so you can focus on your site. And you can customize it completely. So that means you can upload your images, web, video, audio, and a whole lot more. You can also import and export content to and from your WordPress website because, after all, it is your site, it's your home, it's your content, which means you can also take that content with you. It's portable, and you can use it as you wish. Grow your audience and reach new customers. There's built-in SEO, social media features, and marketing tools, and then, of course, the WordPress app that you can use to manage your site on the go. And, of course, launch your website website with confidence. You're going to get 24/7 support from their team exactly when you need it. So no matter when you have a question or an issue or something pressing, you can get in touch with them right away. WordPress plans start at just $4 a month. Like I said, they are everywhere. 32% of all websites run on WordPress. So make yours a part of that number. Right now, get 15% off any new plan purchase. Just go to wordpress.com/allaboutandroid and you can create your website. That's wordpress.com/allaboutandroid for 15% off your new website. wordpress.com/allaboutandroid. And we thank WordPress for their support.
I used WordPress today, in fact.
You did?
Yeah, published the latest episode of my other podcast.
Of course you did.
On WordPress.
Of course you did.
Go to finalepodcast.com. You can see it there. Thanks, WordPress. All right. So you might have noticed earlier in the show as we were catching up with Chad and Bryan and Gina that we didn't ask the one question that we always ask our guests, which is, what phone are you using these days? What's your daily driver? What are you rocking?
Yeah.
And so we thought we'd take some time to check in with everyone to see what phone they're using and then ask them, why on earth are you using that one? So why don't we...
I get the subtext of, you got some splaining to do.
Welcome back, Chad.
Yeah, there you go.
Welcome back, Chad.
So let's go in reverse order. Let's start with Mr. Cranky Hippo himself. So you've always been Team Android. You're on board from the get-go. You were
Very
one of
long
us.
time.
What are you using today? Which one are you using? Using a Samsung Galaxy 9? Are you using a Note? Are you using the Pixel 3?
So I can't say I wasn't tempted to go to the other side at one point because, so a little backstory, you had a Nexus 6P that I think you got for review, and then Ron used it for a little while, and then I used it for a little while. And
Oh,
then,
wow, that's like a legacy phone. Wow.
And then,
That should go in the Hall of Fame.
That's
Just
just
I
went around.
I had that phone for probably a year and a half after that. And then it finally it was toast.
died.
Like the battery was gone. I replaced it. Still wasn't that great. And then I dropped it. It was destroyed. Had a work phone, iPhone 7, that I used for about 4 months. And I almost was like, do I really need to go back to Android? Do I miss it?
You felt tempted.
I felt tempted because, I mean, we've gone back and forth on this all the time. Is like, some things just work, you know? And I had gotten to the point where, like, I was like, oh, I don't want to have to fuss with things. Like, this iPhone just works with everything that I do it with. Like, I kind of miss, tinkering with some of the stuff, because that's like, I like messing with all the settings, but it's pretty polished. Sure, the interface is boring, whatever, the camera's all right, whatever, but like, I don't have to worry about it. Like, I always get battery life, that's fine, and it's, it works all right. And then I realized the strong suit of Androids are the second phase. It's like the wave after the first. So the Pixel 3 was coming out, the Pixel 3 XL was coming out, and I really wanted one of those phones, but then I came to the realization that if you pick up a Android secondhand, that's like their bread and butter. Like, so I was able to get a Pixel 2 from somebody at work for $310. And so that's been my daily driver for like, right as they made like the announcement of the date, I think, for the Pixel 3 is like when I was able to pick it up. So what was that, like 4 months ago or something like that? And it's been great. Like, it's super snappy. Like, I love the camera on it. And
camera's good.
As much as like I did miss Android, it did take a little while for me to get it set up to the way I wanted it to. That's kind of part of the fun of it for me, but since I've been using it, it's been great. And I get like 2 days of battery life on it. And that's like all I ever wanted. And I probably would have really regretted dropping like $800 on a Pixel 3.
Sure.
And I definitely didn't want to spend $1,000 on a new iPhone, which, like, it was fine. I got to see them at work all the time and stuff. And the screen's nice and the camera's great and everything. But I don't know. Like, picking up a secondhand Android just like worked out really well for me.
All right. So glad to see we got you back.
I'm back.
You're
Pixel,
back.
Pixel 2.
All right. So Gina, last we checked in, I believe you were over on the other side of the fence. Are you still there?
Yeah. So this past January, I got an iPhone 8 Plus, and I did it for a couple of reasons. Mostly, it was just because I felt just like I wasn't very conversant. like in the iOS on just the platform. And I was, most people at my company were like 55 people, maybe like there are 2 other people on Android, and everyone else was iOS. And so people would talk about the different apps that they had, and there's still some apps that are iOS only. And I was just feeling kind of far away from it and feeling like, should I check it out? And also I was curious just about portrait mode. I've got a kid, I want to get good photos. So I moved over to iOS beginning of January, and like it's been okay. There are things about iOS that I really don't like. I probably will switch back to Android my next phone. I'll be honest. I don't know if that's going to be this year or not. There's iOS definitely has like fit and finish and polish and like a lot fewer crashes, I think, than Android. And it's like the experience is really nice, but it's also really limited. And Google apps just aren't embedded in iOS the way that they are in Android. Like I never want to use Apple Maps, Siri, Safari. Like it's just never going to happen. But you sort of have to like work around those things when you're on iOS. So while it's like a really nice phone, the camera's great. I've probably taken the best pictures I've ever taken. Although I could probably say that about every phone I've had because cameras and camera
it's always a little better, right?
Gets better every time. And it took me a while to sort of get my app set up. The other thing is like just to be totally honest with you all as a group, like when clients walk into Postlight, my company, and they're like, "Hey, we want to build a mobile app." When they say mobile, they always mean iOS, and if they mean Android, they mean like and Android.
Interesting.
I just feel like there's like people are still building iOS first, and so I felt like in order to kind of have those conversations, I need to sort of understand.
I haven't ranted about iOS first development in a while, but that gets me so mad. So mad.
It's reality, Ron.
I know, but don't turn away a whole. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Let's talk about messaging instead.
Oh yeah, that'll keep us all cheery and happy.
No. So you're gonna have me back. I miss Android. I have to say, I miss a lot of things about it. I miss widgets. I miss just like being able to use Google stuff without a few different layers. I do like the way iOS handles permissions a little bit better than Android. But man, that new Pixel is looking real good to me. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Well, we miss widgets too because those are fading away pretty much.
Yeah, or they're still there.
They're still there, but they're
less
not.
of them on offer. I just have honestly forgotten about them. Like I stopped using them.
I'm using the same widgets I've been using for years. Just the MLB scores, Pocket Cast, play controls, and that's it.
Weather.
Yeah, I never get a new app. And I'm like, ooh, what are these widgets? But
but like Google Calendar, like just being able to see my calendar kind of on my home screen. Do you use that, or like Google Keep?
I just jump into the app now.
Yeah.
You just hop right to the app.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not missing much.
Yeah.
Well, and in some ways they also have the hold on the icon and then it pulls up the extra menu. So some of the things that you may have done with a widget
are there
appears
in
in other ways if you're on the Pixel. I didn't mean to cut you off, Flo. What were you saying?
Oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say. I was just saying, Gina, come back. Gina, come back.
That's good.
I became totally infuriated by iOS when I went to the Kindle app and went to go buy a book, but you can't do that because Apple doesn't let you purchase things on the phone unless you do it through Apple. And I literally, like, my head nearly, like, I got so angry about that.
Yeah.
So I had a real moment. So I'm gonna let that anger just power me to my next phone purchase.
Well, it's funny how you approach that because you could say that you can't buy a book unless it's through Apple. Or Amazon could sell books if they share the revenue with Apple. Like it's Amazon's choosing not to do it because Apple wants a cut of the sale. So
right, fair, true. Listen, all I know is
I don't think 30% is fair.
All about rev share.
All about rev share.
So Chad, what are you using for your phone? Is there a Minecraft phone that you're using? Or?
Yeah, exactly. I'm on the well, unfortunately, there is no Microsoft phone anymore. So
unfortunately,
no, but so I switched actually when I was still at Twit to iPhone because of the watch. I just have always loved the watch idea, and I'm on the newest iteration of the watch now. And so that was the original reason I switched off. And it's kind of the same reason that I'm still on iOS. I'm rocking the XS Max right now. Let me clear away some of these notifications. But yeah, XS Max is what I use. I have already cracked the back glass. So I now have a super. Yeah, exactly. So that's fun. In fact, I did that on stage. I was on stage and I was like taking a question or something. I dropped my phone and I looked down and I just had to like can't be mad. And, yeah, so yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the back is already shattered back there.
Oh,
That's okay. It's on the back, not the front. You can just put a case on there and it's no big deal.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing now. So, so I've this is the 10S. I really hate that name, but it's been a great phone. The only issues I've run into is when Apple just gets in the way of stuff. Especially, I've been trying to do more live streaming, live and around and on my phone because of the Safari like takeover of iOS. I can't play like donation sounds through the browser. That's just like not a thing that is available. But if I had an Android phone, of course, it would work just fine. The things that I do like about the Apple ecosystem is messages. Is like, not to poke Ron, but like,
Don't get me started.
iMessage. Exactly. It's like iMessaging is really useful. I've had various employees over the years, and almost all of them were on iMessage, and it was so easy to always get in touch with them through that. Just for some reason, every other messaging app that isn't iMessage, and maybe there's some conspiracy here, but is horrible at notifications. I don't get notifications for WhatsApp, for Discord, for Slack. All of them seem to not notify me as well as iMessage notifies me every single time. And so that's a huge thing. And then also FaceTime audio calls. And now with the watch, I use actually walkie-talkie a lot too. So all that sort of messaging stuff is a big keep for me on
the notification things is weird. Do you think Apple's doing something there?
Dude, yeah, Flo's face said conspiracy the whole time.
I'm just gonna go Gadget.
Because as you were saying that, Chad, I was doing everything not to explode because there's something about iOS users and iMessage, and there's so much loyalty to it.
Yeah.
And they just love it more than anything. And it just works. It's great. And I know the data, I know how it works underneath the hood, and it's the same thing as WhatsApp. It's the same thing as any other messaging service. So it should be apples to apples, but I didn't realize, I've never experienced being an iMessage user on an iPhone. And so maybe Apple is doing something to make it.
You're just a green bubble, Ron. You're just a green bubble.
Wow,
you're not.
You're
You're not.
just
You're
a green
not
bubble. Yeah.
Clueless green.
I
bubble.
You don't get my
refuse to be
reactions
painted.
at all. Yeah. I mean, also, iMessage will kind of ping you twice if you didn't see the message. So if you get a message and you don't do anything with it, in 2 minutes it'll send you another just ping that, hey, you still have this message I haven't done anything with, which none of the other apps do that.
What if it's somebody you don't want to like deal with? What if it's like an ex or something, and you're like, this is not the mood I want to be in right now?
Yeah. No, that happens. Like, I'll be like, oh God, I do not want to talk to my mom. And I was like, text her.
I like Flo went to X and Chad went to mom. And the spectrum between the two is so wide.
Same, but different.
Wow.
Chad, so the question that I have for you is, what can Android do to win you back?
Yeah, you like your watch. Have you tried the latest watch wear? I mean,
How can Android get you?
It's really come a long way, Chad. It has.
The latest watch stuff is almost laughable. Yeah.
Wow.
You don't even try it. You don't even try it. I am really impressed by this latest Apple Watch. I use it for workouts. I use the walkie-talkie feature. I really love the screen. I could care less about the style, which is kind of where Android I feel like is the strongest, is that you can get all sorts of different styles, but I could care less. Like, I have the basic, cheapest version of this watch, the aluminum one. So that would be kind of the hardest pull, the hardest thing to break for me. I have already thought, though, many times of going back to Android because of things like streaming, because of just general customability. There's all sorts of times when I might be on stage and I kind of want to make sure that the screen is always on the darkest setting. And that's just kind of sometimes hard to do with iOS, to absolutely make sure it's locked down and, you know, it wouldn't ever do anything like that. So the customability would win me back. And also it would probably be the Pixel that I would switch to because of that camera.
Yeah, camera's great.
And so it's definitely not off the table. Another thing that they've got me hook, line, and sinker is the Apple upgrade program. I'm part of that. And so if to leave that, I'd have to buy out my phone, which is a lot less.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew that they were when I got into it unwillingly. Basically, is I had been buying my phones outright, and I was right at the end of one phone, and I was hoping to use it for another year. And I totally just destroyed it. It's like the only time ever that I've just completely wrecked a phone to unusability. And so I needed a new phone, and I just didn't have the cash in my bank account to fully outright buy a phone like I had been used to doing. So in order to get a new phone, I joined the update program. So that was an unwilling choice, but I made it.
I'm holding out hope that Android can win you back, and that Motorola will put out a new Moto Watch at some point.
And the OS will get better.
Yes.
And
Motorola will solve the flat tire, and it will be the update that Chad needs. And we'll get you back.
Yep.
You know, you guys all mentioned portrait mode on the iPhone, but like portrait mode on the Pixel is really good. Like really good. Did you know it uses AI?
That's what I've heard. I'm convinced.
Whoa.
All right, that's it. Forget it. I'm gonna hang up this phone, this call, and buy myself a.
I mean, right now.
Light is really good too. I mean, I'm just, the camera alone is worth the money to me because it's the only camera I have on me.
Yeah, it is a great camera.
I mean, the iPhones don't have AI. That's a very good point, Flo. Don't you guys want AI and
also
machine?
maybe for some people they don't want AI.
That's true. That could be a turn off.
Neural network, whatever chip in there now. It's a bionic chip. Isn't that AI? I have no idea.
Yes, it runs on a little bit of human flesh with a little bit of blood thing through there.
Yeah, it's a cyborg, basically, that phone.
Makes it bionic, yeah.
All right, let's take a voicemail here. We have a voicemail from someone. I didn't write down their name. I think it's anonymous, but this is also related to episode 400 because we heard from a couple of you. So here we go.
TJ Alabon, Indiana. I have listened since pre-first episode, including the beta episodes. And when you mentioned it was your 399th episode, I wanted to figure out exactly how much of my life I've dedicated listening to you guys. So I took 399 times 90 minutes per show, which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Comes out to be about 36,000 minutes worth of listening. So I divided that out, and that became about 600 hours of all about Android. And then I put that into days, which is over 25 days worth of listening. I just thought that was impressive. So anyone who listens today, if they want to go back and listen to the very first beta episode, they need to dedicate 24 hours of their day or almost a month to catch up on Android news. Just found that fascinating. Happy 400th, y'all.
Thanks. Oh my gosh!
And
I'm
I'm
sure
sure
how much time he spent,
doing the math.
We spent, but I didn't realize that the first episode's title was "What Would Andy Say?"
Yeah.
Like that is a 400 episode old joke.
Yep.
I love it. That's great.
It is.
Oh, thanks for that voicemail. Thanks for spending a month of your life with us. That's
It's
crazy.
probably a little bit more if we think about all the 2+ hour episodes we've had.
Yes.
Yeah, it probably is more. There haven't been many that have been much shorter than an hour and a half. An hour and a half is like standard.
Well, we
and
had
it goes
a
up.
period of time where we were doing 2 hours exactly, and it was like
We are not very good at
show.
keeping to the clock, as if we should publish our chat room streams, because usually it's me going, move on, we got to wrap up, move on. Because I feel bad because I'm like, when Gina was in New York, it gets late. And
Yes.
But
And
even
now
when
you're in New York.
when I was here, because I had a zip car, I just extended my car because I'm like, oh, we're running late. So it's like,
Welcome back, Ron.
nothing's
Right,
changed.
the zip cars, Ron.
I literally have not used Zip. No, I use Zipcar in New York, but I couldn't find my card. But I'm like, oh, I gotta find. Me and my wife were turning the apartment upside down, trying to find the Zip card so I could get into the car because I haven't driven up here in so long. So, it's funny.
You couldn't have just used a Lime scooter or whatever.
On the Golden Gate Bridge.
I was stepping over them as I'm walking to the car. Yeah, I used to step over needles in San Francisco. Now I step over scooters.
Well, there you go. There you go.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and thank another one of our fantastic sponsors. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by one of my favorite apps, LastPass. And listen, data breaches happen daily, and password security just can't wait. You got to make every employee on your team a part of your security solution with LastPass Enterprise. It makes password sharing convenient for employees while keeping access to corporate data secure. Every employee has their own secure vault for managing and accessing passwords. LastPass Enterprise offers centralized admin oversight, including the ability to set master password requirements, enable password resets, and restrict access when needed. You can configure over 100 policies, access actionable security reports, and create shared folders. You can also organize database logins, SSH keys, software licenses, and business information. It just makes your team work that much better because everything is centralized and safe. The LastPass password generator makes it easy to use unique random passwords that employees don't have to remember or write down. And the best thing about LastPass is their password autofill functionality. It makes it easier for employees to seamlessly use LastPass across mobile devices. No more copying and pasting from your LastPass app. Please, I say this every time we do this ad, don't copy and paste your password. That's not good. You want to keep your password secure. You can further protect your business with multi-factor authentication. With the LastPass Authenticator app, a verification button pops up on the employee's phone to guarantee they're the only ones with access to their accounts. If the credentials are compromised, the app ensures outsiders will not have access. Employees can log into LastPass with their Microsoft Active Directory credentials, and data is encrypted and decrypted at the device level. So data stored in the vault is kept secret, even from LastPass. And everybody who listens to the show knows that I wasn't a LastPass user until I was on All About Android, and Jason turned me on to LastPass. I've been using it ever since. I got my laptop. LastPass is in my browser. You can see. And LastPass changed my life. It can change yours too. Find out how and why. Turn on to LastPass. Check it out. Find out why more than 16 million people trust LastPass, the #1 most preferred password manager. In addition to the enterprise solution, they also offer LastPass Premium for personal use, LastPass Families for your entire family, and LastPass Teams for teams of 50 or fewer. So take control of your business passwords and reduce the threat of breach. Learn more at lastpass.com/twit today. That's lastpass.com/twit and see which product is right for you. They'll be one of them because LastPass is awesome. Thanks, LastPass, for your support of All About Android.
Thank you, LastPass.
LastPass is incredible.
It is
LastPass
so
is
good.
great. I use it every day.
See, we can all
They
agree.
were not asked to
They
say
might
that.
they might not all be on Android, but they can all agree that LastPass is great.
Yeah, it works better on Android.
Because LastPass is on everything. It's on iOS, Android, browser, Safari, everything.
Listen, you might not be doing shows regularly anymore, but it's very easy to slip back into the sponsor mode.
Well, it's easy to sponsor an app that I literally use every day.
It makes it easy.
Anytime there's a big everybody's passwords have been gone, it's like, well, I don't really. I've used a different password for every different site for years now, and it just makes me feel so good.
Yeah, absolutely does.
Oh, actually, so when I first
you
started,
don't?
No, I do actually. What's funny is they use it at work, but when I first started there, they do like a deep dive on all your credentials and stuff. So they went to like the dark web and found like all these old passwords that I had used on other sites, and I was like, oh, it's cool now. Like ever since I started working at Twit, I stopped like using the same password on everything. So don't worry, like I'm good.
Whoa!
That's crazy.
I get like
passwords were just hanging in the dark web, like just in the ether of it.
Well, they
All
have
of ours are.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah.
My favorite is because every now and then, I don't know if you guys, but every now and then I check my spam folder to see like what did I miss or what got misfiled, and from a data breach from a website that I know the guy who runs the site, and it was a password that I don't normally use. But I'm getting emails now that are like, hello, we know your password is, and it's the password. And then it lists this threatening letter of what they're going to do to you if you don't send $214 in Bitcoin. All right. And there's like 15 of those emails. There's obviously these people who are just grabbing these lists and phishing because someone's going to believe it. And I know better. And I also know that's not the password I used or used, But and I know that because the thing was you can look up your name to see, or you look up your email address to see if it was in breaches. And I saw he had been owned. So and it was like 8 years ago. So it wasn't even like a recent data breach. It was, dark web, stay away.
The more you know. Okay. I've been looking forward to this all day because I set something up here. I've got a special.
You brought it.
Yeah, I've got a special thing. I literally worked for like a couple hours this morning on this, and the deeper I got in it, the more I was like, oh man, this is gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna lead a game show with you guys. I promise it's not gonna be awkward. It is called Hot or Not Hardware Edition.
Whoa, you really cranked up the heat.
This is very on with the times.
Wow. Wait a minute. So the fact that there's a bumper for this, are we going to do this more than just today?
I don't know. I didn't know that there was going to be a bumper.
It is the 400th episode. Come on, we have to put out some of the stops.
No, it's great. Yeah, no, it's much better than the Goat Shack one.
Victor, you made it happen.
Did anyone else get triggered? Like their dad would be yelling at them if they touched the thermostat?
Good work, Victor.
Good work,
that
Victor.
Was awesome. All right, so this is Hot or Not Hardware Edition, and this is basically how it's going to work. I'm going to read each of you. We'll kind of go in order. Everybody gets a new question or a new piece of hardware. I'm going to start with one of you and read a short blurb about a particular device. All right? Can you guess it? I'm sure you probably will.
Is it a blurb one of us said, or is this the blurb about the device?
No, it's just about the device.
Okay, all right. I thought you were going to throw our comments back in our face.
If you can't, or even if you do, we'll show a picture of it because it's always fun to look at a picture of things. And then you can guess. If you hadn't guessed it, I'm pretty sure you'll guess it at that point. And then at the end of that, I'm going to ask you, is it hot or not? And you, the person that I am asking, you have to tell us what you think. Is that device hot or is it not? And why do you say that?
All right. I love it.
All right.
Good job, Jason.
So, Victor, you have the secret doc, right? All right, with the links in it. All right, so I'm just going to start at the very top. Here is the first device, and we're going to start with you, Chad, because you're over there.
Okay.
All right.
No pressure.
Released, yes, and I know some of these are going to be super easy, but whatever. Released in November 2009, this device is credited as mainstreaming the term droid. Geeks knew of it as Shoals. It was free of moto blur, thankfully.
Now, do I need to guess the device or say if it's hot or not?
No. So first of all, you're going to guess the device. What device is it?
This is the original Droid, the flip out with the keyboard.
Yeah,
the Batman. Yeah, the Batman color scheme. I owned this phone. I owned this phone for 2 years. This is my first smartphone ever.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. I happen to.
You still have it?
There's a bag of physical props here, people.
Whoa.
Oh,
wow.
Look at it.
That click that thing makes is the most satisfying keyboard slide click.
Right now, we might not have it because I think we're out of inputs. So.
There it is.
Wow.
Just hold that up to the mic and just slide and click that thing all around because God, it's so good.
Good click.
The ASMR right now is off the charts.
That's some good. Man, I forgot how good a physical keyboard is.
So, bonus factoid: the Droid in the U.S. had an unlockable bootloader. The Milestone, its international counterpart, had a locked bootloader, but that was no match for routers. Anyways, they defeated it. So, Chad, I ask you, Motorola Droid, the original, is it hot or not, and why?
That thing is so hot. I remember blowing Brian Brushwood's mind when I showed him the PPI of that screen. And still to this day, it is one of the highest resolution screens. Like, I mean, now we blow it away with Retina and whatnot. Yeah. But still, super crisp screen, headphone jack. This also introduced the first of the GPS apps, the navigation apps. And that was mind-blowing. Yeah. I forget which version of Android that was. And you could rotate it landscape to do like a legit TomTom style GPS. this thing is hot today, and it was hot back then. Thing is so hot.
Yeah,
so
it
good.
continues to be hot. It's hot in Ron's hands
Listen,
right now.
I don't want to get everybody excited, but it has a 5-megapixel camera on the back.
That was a big deal back
tiny in
then.
your hand,
Everything else
Ron.
was VGA.
Look, I feel like
Yeah,
Jason.
right.
I feel like Jason with the
Yes, I
with
know.
the Nexus
With every
60.
phone. That's me with like the Note.
I held it up to my OnePlus, and it's like it's
so small.
Look at that, it's crazy.
All right, we've got a lot of phones here, so we're going to move along. Brian, I did not think about who would get what.
Okay.
This might be a little bit of a challenge for you.
All right.
Codenamed Multi, this 2017 or 2017 dual screen phone folds two 5.2-inch 1080p LCD panels outward. Still has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, even when everyone else is abandoning them, and lights up a single screen, which when it's folded into phone mode. It's a little bit of a challenging one, I realize.
Yeah, I haven't been following as closely to like the outside. Android
I'm a
phone.
co-host, and I don't know the answer to this.
I mean, the only
I know
one of
that.
the
I know
harder
this one.
I knew that you
Flo
would,
is?
Flo. I knew that you would.
It's got to be something weird. So think about that.
Flow written all over it.
There's only one phone that I can remember you having that was dual screen. It was a Sony.
Okay.
That was a while
is not
ago,
this
yeah.
one. You could buy these in AT&T stores, really, for
doesn't help
$725. That doesn't help. Okay. Steps. The next step is to show you the device.
Okay.
Which does this help?
What on earth?
What?
Does this help?
Oh man,
That
not
looks
at
very
all.
Sony.
Yeah.
Do you have one of these in your
Try
bag?
another
No, I
country.
don't have one of these in my bag.
Do you want to call a friend? Do you want to
not
call a friend?
Japanese.
in-
Can I
can call a
Do you want
friend.
to call a
get
friend in
Flo.
Romania?
Lifeline, and I'll go to Flo in Romania, please.
Flo.
That would be the ZTE Axon M.
Ding, 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 ding.
that
That's
was-
exactly what it was.
It was on the tip
Right
of your
after
tongue.
my tongue.
I
I
could
was gonna
see
go
you
for it.
about to say ZTE, but you weren't sure of yourself. I could tell.
All right, so Brian, based on what you know about the ZTE Axon M, and
Yeah.
of course the spectacular view, the shot of it, is this hot or not?
You don't get feathers like that every day.
That's true. I mean, a PPI on that must be insane.
It's a dual screen phone, Brian.
Yeah, I mean,
Just look at that nav bar down there. It's got things I don't
Look at
even
that bar
know.
between the two screens. You know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is there an M button?
Yes.
There. Why is there an M button?
I
What
have
does
no
that do?
So that you could flip
Does that have a
modes so that you
dedicated
could do the different-
camera button?
Oh,
is that
Weird.
is that a flash on the front, or does that work
Yes.
as the back?
It's a flash.
Yeah,
Well, is you don't know
flip
what the
the
front or
phone.
the back is.
I
'cause
can't
it's two
tell.
sides.
That's actually the back of the phone.
Man, I mean, considering I think only one of us guessed what it was, I'm gonna say it was not very hot.
yeah. I think I might agree. Although Flo might feel differently. You were somewhat
No, it was
positive on this.
not. It was not a good.
Okay.
dual
not a
screen.
good.
Not a good.
That phone. That's not my kind of phone.
All right, up next, Ron.
Oh, geez. All right, on the spot.
In 2014, you could indeed spend between $10,300 to $50,000 for an Android phone that featured unique triangular edges, stainless steel and leather stylings,
I know.
and, let's be honest, a quickly outdated version of Android. But hey, Mateo will always appreciate the Macadial options.
And he's gonna kill me because I can't remember the name of it. It was the Macadal phone. Oh, it was the Virtu. The Virtu.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Give me
I'm
the
going to
number
give
of
you
that. Thank you.
that. Yeah.
Thank you.
The Virtu.
Oh, I love this phone.
The Virtu Signature Touch.
The original Macadial.
Yes.
Wow.
Limited edition
Wow.
versions included Ferrari and Bentley models. But seriously, who buys these?
Gina, were you on the show when we talked about this one?
I think this is the first time I'm laying eyes on.
Okay,
this
yeah, because it's was this pre-flow or not? Because these are.
I don't even know this phone.
A micro SD charger, not micro, mini over there. That
Mini.
red thing.
Yeah, these phones just always perplex me.
There was another like $50,000 gold phone that we covered at some point. I don't think it was this one.
No, I
but
think it's the same phone.
It is
because
the same.
it's
It
the
was a
same
different
phone.
option of
Because
it.
believe it or
Okay.
not, Gina, there aren't many $50,000 phones on the market. So
Oh no, you sure it wasn't that other one? No, that's a very good point.
no, but there were different flavors of this, and one was gold, and one was like it was like a burgundy and gold kind of
Yeah,
combination.
this had a bunch of different
colors
versions
and,
to it.
and this was the Macadal one, which Mateo has just he grabbed onto and has ridden for 8 years now.
It's his thing. It's kind of his thing.
It's fine.
So, Ron,
Yes.
the Virtu Signature Touch, is it hot or not, and why?
I mean, I understand that I'm on another planet when it comes to my valuation of these phones, but with that price tag and that Macadal, it's it's hot. It has to be hot, right?
It's not quite there. I thought you were going with that, but okay.
I'll give it hot.
Hey, you know what? You're right. No matter how you answer in this part of the questions, you're always right.
Gina, if I remember correctly, that thing had a dedicated concierge button.
Yes, you're right. It did
immediately into with a concierge.
Totally had a concierge button.
Really?
Good memory. I wish I would have remembered that from my extra factoid column.
Yeah.
All right, Gina, you are up next. This is this is relatively easy.
Oh wait, do you not have one of these? Do you not have a Virtu in your bag too?
No, I don't. I don't. I wish.
You set the standard very high with this. Now I'm expecting to see
Honestly,
every phone.
I meant to bring. I have a few of the devices from this list at home, and I forgot to bring them. But I did have some here, so I've got a few of them that I can pull out.
All right.
I don't have this one. Gina, the manufacturer, was on top of the world when it released this sleek, gargantuan device that could think big, and people loved it until they had to think about big flames in their pockets.
Oh. I remember the phone that caught fire, but they're all just sort of black rectangles to me. I never remember the model names.
Black
I
rectangles.
don't know. It was the Samsung, was it not?
This is a Samsung. That's a half point, yeah.
Not the Note. Was it the Note? They're like super popular line.
That's 3/4 of a point.
3/4. You just need the number. You just need the number.
The 7?
Dang, you got it. Nailed it.
Perfect.
I don't know how you did that. You went from I have no idea to nailing it. That was amazing. Sam?
I did. It was it was coming. The recall was slow, but it came to me.
Yeah, you got there.
That's what happened to me with the Virtu. Was that it just got to dig. It's all in there.
You just got,
So does that show how well Samsung's PR has done since then?
Right.
People have forgotten about it.
That's a good point. Samsung actually released a fan edition 9 months after the recall.
That comes with a fan. Comes with a fan to blow the fire.
Although that
out?
would have been really brilliant.
A little
It
extinguisher.
had a smaller battery, and then 1 month after the release
battery.
of that, they released the Note 8. So apparently they didn't expect it to do very well.
I remember being on a flight, and the attendant got over and said, "If you have a Note 7, you can't fly right now."
Yeah,
and it was
a big deal.
This is over. This is completely over for Samsung, because people were sitting there and if you had one, you were just smuggling it on anyway, hoping that it didn't explode.
And I'm pretty sure at that time I both predicted it was the end of Samsung and that everything would be fine. I'm pretty sure at some point where we talked about and turns out I was right. So
everything was totally fine.
So is it hot then, Gina?
Oh,
yeah.
Hot or not? I almost forgot. Hot or not? Why?
Literally hot. It's on fire.
And you are right. Your answer is correct. All right.
That's the answer.
Yes. All right, Flo, you are up next. I think you're going to get this one. This tablet proved that Android could have a hit in the category back in 2012. It cost $199 to start. It was seen as a media consumption powerhouse that increased exposure of Google Play. Thankfully, it didn't end with the letter Q.
Are we talking about the Nexus 7?
Ding, 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 ding. You got it. The original Nexus 7. You got it.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a very hot product.
Yes.
And I missed it I actually missed the second gen one, is the one that really made everybody just fly over the moon. It was such a great tablet.
Jason has one, and now I'm getting all sentimental.
You're tearing.
Oh man,
Wipe that
I'm
tear
tearing
away,
because it's
Rob.
got a crack in the corner. But oh man, I love this tablet. This tablet was perfect. It fits in your hand.
My extra factoid, I know you're about to say it. It passed Ron's pocket test. It fits.
Oh, here we go.
See my big butt.
Still to this day.
Perfect.
I love that you were about to go there. I was like, wait a minute, this is the factoid. And it's the white Google I.O. version because they gave it out at
Yes.
Google I.O.
I used to measure the quality of a tablet if it could fit in my back pocket.
All right, Flo, hot or not?
Extremely hot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sad that we don't have Android tablets like this anymore. I mean, we kind of do. You could buy them from other manufacturers, but I wish I could buy one from Google. But who knows? Maybe with all this Chrome OS stuff, maybe we'll see a small tablet come out with all the power of Chrome. So that's what I'm hoping for now.
Maybe. Chrome's got a ways to go for that to be a fun experience. Awesome stuff. All right.
Another round?
Chad. Yeah, I'm
jeez.
down. I'm down. I'm like, I love this. We don't even have to do the arena. This could be the end of the show. I don't care. Chad, you are up next.
Okay.
Modularity was it before bezel-less and notches, if you remember. This smartphone design begged to be known as the quintessential modular phone, and it really seemed like it might actually happen for a few years until it didn't at all.
God, there's no way I'm gonna remember the name, but I totally remember this phone. It looked like the weirdest, like you would buy basically a case almost, and you could slap in stuff. And if I remember, it had a big old knot, like a thing along the top that you could like put in a front-facing camera or decide something else in there.
You're tiptoeing around it. You're like right there.
I do not remember. I don't remember the manufacturer. I don't remember the name of it. We'll call it the Click.
Allow me to give you a little extra factoid information. The plans were to sell a basic kit for $50, a low barrier of entry for 5 billion of the world's feature phone users. You know, mainstream modularity.
Yeah, exactly. And I just love the idea that like a camera could have been like, oh, I don't need a camera on my phone. I can just use only the screen only and be happy with this. Like, what a horrible idea.
All right, so
now I've seen chat. I've been spoiled.
Oh, yeah. Don't look at chat. That'll do it.
There it is.
There it is. What's it called?
That's it. The Project Aura.
Yes.
Or no, that was the Kicks. Yeah, that was it. Okay, yeah.
Project Aura was a Google project.
subject.
They really honestly thought this was going to be kind of a mainstream thing, and in the end, it just didn't happen.
Well, this was supposed to be for emerging markets. They were going to try and make it work. It was supposed to go in Puerto Rico first.
Yep.
And then they were going to see how it works there. And then it was going to be like the phone that they would expand throughout Latin America because...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because what people don't realize is that Latin America loves modern modularity. I mean, you know, I went to Panama and it was modularity everywhere.
Everywhere
so
you look was modular.
Hey, they still use VW buses, so
Yeah. There you go.
that has nothing to do with modularity.
No, that's okay. I'm willing to see.
I love this. I love that phone. I wanted this so bad.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to snap, like Chad said. Like, I don't need my camera.
It was cool in person.
Put more
It was
battery.
A cool idea.
Yeah.
Chad, is it hot or not, and why?
I'm gonna say it is not hot, and mostly because that weird the frame that you needed added at least like 3 millimeters to like the width of it. So you always had this weird frame to contend with. And yeah, you're right. Like Ron like hit it right on. Like the dream was, okay, maybe one of those big ones, you'll slap in a big old almost DSLR style phone sensor, photo sensor, and you can just upgrade your phone throughout the time. Maybe one of these is the processor block and you can just remove it. But it was either going to be a
man.
Yeah, exactly. We'll customize our phone. Maybe, you work with third parties. But it was either going to be an all or nothing game, and it was really, really nothing in the end. So that is not hot.
You are correct.
Oh, was hot or not a right or wrong answer?
No, I just,
okay.
I'm of the theory that no matter what what you guys answer,
they're correct.
you're correct because it's your opinion. All right, Brian, you're up next. This tablet, I've already done that. This handset, codenamed Hammerhead, goes down as many people's favorite Nexus device of all time, thanks to its incredible balance of no-frills design, longevity, and price at $349 when it was released with KitKat on Halloween 2013.
Okay. What was it? The Nexus 6 was Orca, wasn't it? And then... was it the Nexus 5 then was Hammerhead?
Ding, 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 ding.
Is the next hint that this is the first phone inducted into the All About Android Phone Hall of Fame?
Ron's favorite?
The Nexus 5?
Here you go. You can go ahead and take a look at it.
The greatest Android phone of all time?
No, my hint was that it was the first Nexus device to include step detectors and counter technology. It also was the first to eliminate the SD card slot.
And this was the phone I own the most of because I think in my lifespan I bought 3 of them.
Yeah, you did.
Yep, because I think I got one at I.O. and then I broke the glass on another and then something happened and I got a third one. So I love this
You
phone.
did indeed.
It's a great phone.
Oh, that phone was hot. I remember when, I think it was this phone, it got leaked in like it was like a Google promotional video or something, and somebody at the campus was like taking a picture, and everyone spotted it.
Yes,
and I was like, oh, that like I love the look of it. I mean, it's got like it's still iconic, even though it's a little
the dot,
yeah,
the
it's
camera
just
dot,
the camera dot, yeah.
Strangely
cool
iconic
phone.
for how simple it looks. You know what I mean? Like there isn't a whole lot of flair there, but that's kind of why it's awesome also.
And still one of the cooler, I think, LG phones that came out. I don't know. There's like a lot of LG phones that I've seen recently I haven't been too thrilled with.
Yeah. Chad?
Was that the last of the cheap Nexus phones as well? I like that one. I think was
the 6.
last
The 6 jumped up. The 6
6 definitely jumped.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, $349
I never liked
for this.
the bezel around the glass.
Yes.
Though. It had
The
like
rubbery-
a 1/2 millimeter rubber thing. I hated that.
Yep. Which is great because you could grip. It was good for gripping.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was not slippery like the phones of today,
God, I
which are
love
all
these
glass.
phones.
Exactly. Ron, I'm really happy that this one's yours.
All right.
For when you want more than just a phone, this device could dock into a 10-inch tablet and shipped with Jelly Bean. Extended battery was just one of a very small handful of reasons why you might actually want to do this, though there were a few successors in its lineup.
This is Asus, right?
Half a point.
Oh, what's the model name? I know. I can see it. I see it on the page. It's the dumb Asus phone that plugged into a tablet. That was geniusly stupid. What was it called? Yoga was another one,
that was
right?
different,
No, that was a
yeah.
different. That's Lenovo,
Yeah,
right?
that's Lenovo.
The Yoga Pad.
Don't look at chat.
Oh, I'm not looking at chat. That's why I'm looking away. I'm looking away. Oh, Asus.
You're right there, though, man.
All I got is Asus. I don't
So
take half of it.
powerful.
Yeah.
It could be a laptop.
Okay, here's my clue. This will give
Oh,
it
give me a
away.
clue. Yeah, give me a clue.
Not to be confused with a phone pad. Oh, no. Those were basically phablets with mobile internet capabilities.
Well, no. Is this the Zen? This isn't the first Zen pad, is it? No. Is it?
No,
So
I
what
thought
is
that
it?
would give it away.
No, it doesn't.
Show the picture. Does this ring a bell?
Oh yeah, totally. I know what it looks
Okay,
like.
all right.
Yeah, I know. I just don't remember what they called it. This
This
stupid
is
thing.
pad phone.
Pad phone. Oh, of course.
Don't confuse it with the
pad
phone
phone.
pad, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I believe
I'm
when this came
glad-
out, I said it was genius, and I said it was
Yeah.
a great design. And finally, these phones are just computers, so just plug it into a tablet and you got a
Right.
bigger screen.
So hot or not?
I want to say hot, but I'm gonna say not.
Yeah.
Because clearly it
It
didn't
was
take off.
clunky.
Yeah.
It was clunky. And plus,
I'm
when you
so
didn't have the
glad-
phone inside of it, you just had like this empty back. It was
Yes,
like
yeah.
really strange.
Kind of a hollow tablet.
Yeah.
Oh, the pad phone.
I'm so glad that those fake 30-pin connector knockoffs just died. Like, if you go back and look at that photo, there's that stupid 30-pin connector thing that was horrible. I hated
underneath
those.
the long,
Every single one of them was
super rectangular.
proprietary.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Gina, you are up next. When
right, let's do this.
Honeycomb burst onto the scene, one 10.1-inch tablet showed all that it was capable of. Its high cost of $499 or $799 with mobile network support made it more expensive than the competing iPad 2 at the time, and a tough sale for anyone who wasn't an Android loyalist.
I remember this one.
Is this the Nexus 10?
No.
Was that a thing? Was
That
that
was a thing.
Too
was
early
a
for
thing.
it.
It
Yeah,
was
a
a
thing.
this is early.
days.
This is like
pre-Genia. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, this was. I remember Eileen,
This is
who
like-
we wish could have joined us tonight, but she couldn't make it.
Yeah, she was sick.
She got one of these when it came out. I remember looking. It was
Like
the first
in the
tablet I ever
cottage
held.
days.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it had the honeycomb wallpaper stock on it.
At the
had that
blue-
special tablet interface as well.
Yeah. So it's right around the same time after this phone,
After the Motorola.
and that's a
Droid.
hint, Gina. That's a hint.
Yeah, it's like
That is the
I mean,
the
it was probably like a year
Droid.
and a half
That's
the
or
Droid.
something after the
A year and a half
Droid,
after
I
this
would guess.
Motorola phone.
so Motorola. Okay. Oh, the Zoom. The Zoom.
Yes! Motorola touted the Zoom's coming soon 4G capability when it sold, but that came almost 8 months after release. Many people were upset about that. I do happen to have the Motorola Zoom.
Oh. Look how thick it is.
There it is.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Giant. Yeah. So this is pre-Nexus 7 or the Nexus tablets.
This is like one of the first official of any Android tablets. That wasn't like a hack. I mean, this was the first one running the actual tablet UI.
This literally weighs as much as my laptop.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, that thing's got to be a brick now. I mean, at the time it was hot, but in retrospect, not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if I remember, people didn't like it very much.
What's that, Flo?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Gina. If I remember, people didn't really like it. It didn't review very well. It was slow or something. Like the tablet interface wasn't super. I don't know. I'm just remembering a negative aura around it.
This also has a 5 megapixel HD video camera on the back.
Oh, video camera!
So just everyone knows, HD video.
Yeah, remember Honeycomb's
competing
being that great.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think it was competing against the iPad 2 at the time, which is still a really solid tablet.
Yes.
And you could tell just like scrolling between home screens, like the iPad was still buttery smooth and this thing was like hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to get from one screen to another.
Yep.
Yeah.
So hot or not, I'm assuming not really.
Hot then, not now. In retrospect, no. It didn't stand the test of time.
That makes a lot of
Probably
sense.
just not in general. I mean, I think at the time we were like, ooh, an Android tablet. Yeah. Okay, we're doing this.
We had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and at the time, it was the first tablet with Honeycomb, which was the first version of Android created for a tablet. So we were because
they're going that way, yeah. And to answer the chat room's question, it would not fit in my back pocket.
No, definitely not.
Well, on the back, it even says with Google on it.
With Google, because it was a collaborative sort of thing.
It was before they bought
Motorola.
Yeah, years before
that. It was a collaborative effort.
Which the Moto X was still probably one of my favorite phones.
This also says with Google.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, the Motorola-Google partnership that led to nothing.
All right,
led to Rick Osterloh.
Bummer.
Prepare yourself, Flo.
Okay.
We heard about this handset at Mobile World Congress this year while it was still a concept as it raced to solve the apparently super important problems of bezels and notches by removing the front camera from the face of the device and placing it in a squared mechanical tray up top that slides out as needed.
So I don't remember the model name, but I know it's one of the Vivo phones.
Yes. Very good.
Okay. I totally don't remember the model name, to be honest with you.
That's okay. It's actually, there are two different answers that you could give on this one. But if you don't remember it all, that's cool. I can, I'll show you a picture
I'll take
first.
half a point. I'll take half a point for this one. For the Vivo something.
This is it was known as a concept as the Vivo Apex.
There we go.
It was released as
Apex.
the Vivo Nex. And now there's a sequel to the Nex, and I can't remember what it is.
I love this design. It's great. Just pop the camera out.
Yeah. Camera appears when you need it.
Listen, do you want this or do you want a notch?
In there.
You want this or a notch? What would you rather have?
Just give up on the front camera.
I agree.
Just take that. Yeah.
Only narcissists need the front camera. Right, Flo?
Yes, I need a front-facing camera, and I need to be able to, do my portrait selfie perfectly.
And so what would you say, hot or not, on this concept design?
I feel like the popular opinion is hot because we want to see quote unquote innovation in smartphones. But I personally feel like it's a not because, again, look, we've got people putting cameras behind screens. So that's what I'm waiting for.
Is it a not? Is it a not because of the duck face in the product shot?
No, it's a not because I do duck face. It's fine. It's still in. It's a not because I just don't like the idea of a little mechanical camera popping up and like, what if it gets loose? And I don't know. I just think about how I double tap the power button to like instantly shoot a picture. And I don't know if I have to wait for a camera to pop up.
Yeah.
I could miss the moment.
Yeah, you very well could. I mean, it's fast, but it's not that fast.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
I have more, but I feel like we can't.
We got to come back and do it another time.
All right. I'll save them because that was a lot of fun.
We'll save it for a slow week.
Let's take a break and thank the sponsor. Then we will get to the arena, which is also a little different, very different this week. But before that, this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. If you are in the market or you're thinking about getting in the market to buy a home, then you are paying attention, or at least you should be, to the interest rates. And you're noticing that the Fed has been raising the interest rates slowly but surely throughout this year. That can create a little bit of anxiety, especially if you've never bought a home before. You don't know, is now the right time to jump? Well, our friends at Quicken Loans are doing something about that to help you out. They're calling it the power buying process. And here's how it works. Step one, you answer a few simple questions, and they're going to check your credit for pre-qualified approval. Step two, Quicken Loans will verify your income, assets, and credit in less than 24 hours to give you a verified approval, which gives you the strength of a cash buyer. And step three, once you're all verified, you then qualify for their new exclusive rate shield approval. This way, they're going to lock up your rate at that point for up to 90 days while you shop. That rate is not going to go up if rates happen to go up. So if the Fed raises the rates within those 90 days, your rate's going to stay the same. But if the rates happen to be lowered within that time, your rate will drop with it. So either way, you win. It's the kind of thinking you'd expect from America's largest mortgage lender. So to get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Android. Rate shield approval is only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply based on Quicken Loans data in comparison to public data records. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org, number 3030. That's rocketmortgage.com/Android. And we thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for their support. All right. Oh, man, that last segment was amazing. It's time for another amazing segment that we lovingly refer to as the arena.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
The 400th Android Arena.
The 400th.
So many enter in this particular one.
So many
Yes.
have
For sure.
entered. So many enter.
Almost too many enter.
This is the most guests we've had. When I was here, and Mateo and the two other folks whose names forget me, one works at Blendle, right? And we were all packed at the table.
Martin,
so that was 5. I think we broke the record tonight. Good job.
Yeah, I think maybe we did. I don't know if we've ever had 6 throughout the course of the episode.
If we count all the episodes where Bryan was the TD.
Oh,
could we? Because then that adds.
So first of all, we have to check in on last week's poll, twit.to/AAA poll 399. Checking in on this, we see that Radio Tunes was the winner, 44% of the votes.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice.
good job,
Right,
Flo.
I'm glad people liked it.
Second place, Typing Hero at 36%.
Love a
That
good
was
text
yours,
expander.
Ron.
Yep.
And third place, Habitify. That was mine, 21%. None of this matters because the guests have won.
Yeah, so Gina,
Yeah.
it's good timing that you're here because you can receive the winning moment.
Team
G&G, as Mateo has been
Lovingly referred to it
loving
as,
them,
yes.
referred to them. Gina as the captain of Team Guest. You didn't even have to work this year, and your team won.
Yeah. You just
job.
show up and we give you an award.
No, I love it. I love it. Working for me.
The year of the guest, as we've dubbed it. The guests dominated. And there was a point where, like, mid-year, where the guests were getting a lead and we were figuring out, okay, well, we come back. And then they just ran away.
Yeah,
with
it just steamrolled.
Yeah.
So
Good job, guys.
That's unusual, isn't it? Have the guests won ever before in a past year?
That's a good question.
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. Where's the
what is
stats?
it?
They
Where's the
really
stats?
showed
are
up
at the
this
top
year.
of
What's the
Arena.
stats?
Yeah. Team
Yeah.
G&G. Good job, team.
All right, here we go.
I'm
Here we go. So-
completely absent. Good job, team.
Okay, in 2017, Flo won last year.
Yes.
In 2016, Guests won. Did I win
Oh.
1 year? When did I win? Jason
Yeah,
won 2015. I won 2014.
Gina won.
Gina won 2013. Jason
year.
won 2012. Eileen won 2011.
Wow.
I thought I won a year more sooner than that.
Dang,
Nope.
Maybe next
7
year, Ron.
years, y'all.
So here's the funny thing, though. If you want to get deep into the stats and the numbers, with the guests now having 2 years of winning and Gina having a year of winning, Gina is the winningest person on all of Android.
Team G&G.
Wow.
G&G.
Respect.
Yeah.
Take it.
Respect.
Formidable.
Now, if I was 15 years younger, I would go and I would run all the previous years through our new point system to see how that would go. But someone in the audience have a blast.
Oh yeah, have fun. Yeah. And you are the proud owner, Gina, of a Motorola Droid, a Nexus 5, a Nexus 7, and a Motorola Zoom. Congratulations.
Right. This brings up the question I wanted to ask you, Jason. Did you try to power any of these up?
No.
Oh, that would have been fun.
I didn't have time. I ran out of time. I'm not sure that they have any battery, but it would be really cool to see where they are at this point. I've probably already wiped them.
All right, but now we have a very special 400th arena.
Yeah, right? So this time around, we thought we would break all the arena rules.
There's one golden rule that cannot be broken in the arena.
And it's been broken a couple of times and we've let it slide. But
right, Brian, do you know what the rule we're talking about here?
No.
Okay. See,
Brian never paid attention during the show.
Quickly forgot the entire.
Oh, wait.
You know, it's coming back to you now.
It's coming back. We can never do a Google app.
Correct.
That's right.
See, it's in there. I knew it was in there.
Yeah, it's all coming back.
It's like at the end of Grinch when his heart gets bigger. It's just that Brian's heart goes.
Your brain grew two sizes that day.
Your brain just turned from blue to green, and yes, you can never bring a Google app because it's verboten because it's already on your phone. It's all part of it, and just like
we talk about it in others parts of the show.
And it's like, oh, you're gonna bring Gmail? Come on.
Yeah, it's a runaway hit no matter when a Google app ends up.
App.
Yeah. So today we're breaking all the rules. And we are doing nothing but Google Apps. And I don't even know if we have to necessarily show them off. Like, I know I would have a hard time showing off mine because
there's a lot of personal stuff.
There's a lot of personal stuff in there. Everybody knows what these things look like. We've got the Play Store screens. And to be honest, we're going long anyways. So let's just kind of do like a quick kind of recap of the ones that we've picked. And then you guys can vote on that. And we'll see which Google app reigns supreme.
Mm-hmm. So just real quick, what's your app and why? And
I mean, we don't have to condense it down to 10 seconds, but
condense it down to 10 seconds.
Okay. All right. Sure.
But 11 would be too many.
I feel like my app, the choice of my app was pretty obvious because I feel like so many times on this show I've made the comment, my favorite app that Google makes is Google Maps.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very consistent with the past 7 years.
Well, because Maps is just an app that I use all the time. Almost it's the perfect Google app in the sense that it's awesome for them for data mining, right? So maybe you don't care so much about that. And why is that? Because you get so much utility out of it. It works to get you from point A to point B. And even when you don't need it, you still run it because it might actually save you time on the road, right? So I might already know how to get from point A to point B, but I will still run it sometimes because it might know that there's an accident somewhere up there and to say, hey, let me route you around that and go in this direction and you're happy. Mm-hmm. So Google Maps, I love it. It consistently gets updated, almost to the point to where this year it's been maybe over updated. There's a lot of stuff in there now. It's feeling a little bloated at this point, but I still use it for the basics. The timeline feature, as creepy as it is really useful. Like I've had many moments where I'm like, God, where was I that day? So I go back in time and I'm like, oh, it has my entire life in a granularity that I don't know if I'm comfortable with, but it's useful at times. So Google Maps has to be at the top of my list as far as my favorite Google app that they've made.
Cool.
Can I add something quickly to this?
Absolutely.
I read the other day that Yelp is suffering in shares because I guess Google is taking a lot of that market right now of people leaving reviews and stuff. And because they've added all the new, so now you can contact businesses and stuff through it. So now it's becoming more of a competitor for reviews. So it's also now it's just a great way to figure out where to go eat.
Yep.
Because it's it's used.
And as we were talking about it in the pre-show, because apps update so often and it goes is iterative and quickly. If you took the Google Maps APK from a year ago and ran it now, it would look much different than it is now. Because they're constantly adding things and changing things and things like that. Yep. So while Maps has been a great app since we started the show, it has evolved and never stayed static. They just keep adding it in a positive way, in a positive direction. So
absolutely. Great. Google Maps is my choice. So let's see here. Who was the winner? That was Flo. So Flo, you're going to go last.
Okay.
We'll go. Here, I'm gonna sprinkle us about.
He's mixing it up.
Gina, why don't you go next? What's your favorite?
As the winning arena person. So.
Yeah. Great. So I chose Google Photos. Man, I love Google Photos. I'm not a big photographer, but I take a ton of pictures. And before Google Photos, I had to make sure that I've got a little kid and who I'm co-parenting, my co-parent, like, oh, did you take pictures of her? Can you send them to me? Did I back these up on my hard drive at home? Google Photos is awesome. The fact that you can, first of all, just from the perspective of a UI perspective, you're able to scroll through a timeline by year and month, like in a way that I've just never seen, in an app before. Just like it just can handle that tens of thousands of photos and get them to you. You can scroll back through time so easily. The search functionality is great. Search by a dog at the beach, as you see in the screenshot there, by place, by object, by person. I really love the feature where you can say if this photo is a picture of this person, automatically share it. So my partner and I use this with our kid. Like if one of us takes a picture of our kid, the other one automatically sees it, so I can kind of see when they're together and pictures that she's taking. The assistant that does like the then and now and the auto movies, they're always so good. Particularly if you have a little one or a pet. I love photos, and now I don't think about backing up my photos. I switch phones, I switch devices. I know that I'm going to have all my photos, on the web. On the web, you can even just drag and drop gigabytes of photos, and it just eats them up and sorts them for you. I ordered photo books this year for family members for holiday gifts. I really love photos. I don't know even though I switched to iOS, I continued to use Google Photos and didn't use any of the Apple photo stuff because it's just so good. And I probably missed a few features, but yeah, can't express how much I love photos, even though it's a little bit creepy that Google knows everyone in my life.
Yeah, right.
By their faces.
What were you going to say?
I was gonna say those photo books, I've already given a couple of them as gifts.
Yeah,
and
great.
like every time makes people cry. Because it's just like the nicest thing. Like you just put all your photos into $10 for like a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the app does it for you.
Yeah. Yep. Love it.
It's great.
Love it.
It's really
Photos
great.
is amazing. And again, they spend so much time iterating on it. It just keeps getting better and better.
Keeps getting better.
Great product choice, great app choice, Gina. Ron, you're up next.
I will be one of the only people to show off my app because there's no personal information in it, but it's going to be brief because we just talked about this because you can tell we didn't really plan this until after the show where I talked about Google News, which is like my app of the year. Not only just my favorite Google app, but I don't know if we have the product camera, Victor, or not, but so I can show it here. There you go. So this is my Google News, kind of feed, and we showed it a couple episodes ago. And so if you saw that, this is same old information. Hasn't changed that much, but the ability to give me a rundown of 5 stories in night mode, by the way, which automatically turns on based on the time of day, which is very clever. But then a customized feed of news that is catered to my searching, which you can see is very dominated with comics and the Mets. So, but it's great because it's the topics actually that I'm interested in, and there gets tech and Android stuff gets in there, but also peppering in a local story section. I don't watch news at all, despite New York having New York One, which I actually don't have because I don't have TV. But so I don't know much about what's going on in my own community. Now I feel more informed and more aware, especially with Long Island City being invaded by Amazon. It's the customized virtual newspaper that we always dreamt of with the internet, and they're doing it because they've got Google is the best source of information. They know me, they know what I'm interested in, and it's just great. So going through the headlines, I can go through the latest headlines or seamless integration of video with ugly old men. And you can change the different focus of news. I can go into my technology news section and catch up before we do the show, so I don't have to Google Android news. So great stuff. Google News, amazing app, and it just shows they're continuing to innovate.
Yep.
So
yep.
Google News.
The design is really great, and it works. Its stated purpose, it works really well.
It does one thing very well,
yeah,
which is great.
Absolutely.
Well, it does several things, but it's a focus. So anyway.
Absolutely. Google News. All right, Bryan, you're up next, and I love your choice as well.
I think, the Google apps are pretty popular, but
turns out Google knows what it's doing.
Yeah, they're onto something, I think.
Yeah. Well, I almost went with Inbox, but I guess
don't do that.
No.
But
so hamming it up for the crowd.
Inbox is gone. That is actually one of my favorite apps. I'm gonna miss that.
I'm really gonna miss it too.
Same.
But there are two things that trickled down to the Pixel 2 that I thought were like two of the best features and why I'd want an Android phone. The first one was screen calling, which has been a lot of fun to do to friends. And then the other one, which is my app, is the Google Camera app, but more specifically like the night sight stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
I mean, it's like
Love
magic. It
is so cool.
Yeah.
And it is like the first camera thing that I've used that I'm like, oh, this is like could be a replacement for my DSLR. Like I don't need to carry that around with me to get like these really nice exposed shots. Like I was working in San Francisco just last week and I was taking these pictures of like pretty like bright lights coming out of skyscrapers and stuff. And then like really dark all around that. And I would have struggled trying to dial in my DSLR to get those shots. But because of the night sight stuff, like even if you're holding it in your hand, it does a really good job of like getting the exposure right and stuff. But if you're able to prop it up against something and get it like super still, like the skyscraper shots I got, I think I had one on my on my Twitter, if you want to find that photo, but they came out great, and it's just like it's better than my eyesight. Like I'll take pictures of the backyard, you know, like I'll go in the backyard, let my dog, you know, go do his thing, and I'll take a picture, and I can see everything. I can see him like hiding in the corner from me. Yeah, that's the shot. It's got like the Bay Bridge. It's got like a bunch of skyscrapers and stuff in it. I think that showed off night sight really well. But yeah, that what Google can do just with algorithms.
That's crazy.
For a photo.
This is really nice.
AI like blew me away because this is the older generation. This is the Pixel 2. So
it's all software. Yeah.
It's all software. So
Look at
like
all the holiday lights.
I imagine, you know, as things go forward, it's only going to get better, and you're not going to have to be so reliant on the hardware. But like, I mean, just showing off that.
I will say, night sight has been the one thing I've heard the most about from people who aren't people like us.
Yep.
Like from average users who have the Pixel 2 that trickle down to, like you said,
Yes,
I've got the Pixel 3.
completely agree.
Said that night sight, they're like it's mind blowing how good it is. So
yeah, and even if you zoom in on it, like I mean, it looks great on Instagram and everything as a tiny picture, but even as I zoom in, like you can still see some noise and like there are some artifacts and stuff. But
who
like,
zooms in these days?
Nobody zooms in.
They look at it for 5 seconds. They move
on. But yeah, it does a really good job. I wouldn't have been able to get that with the DSLR, even with like some HDR stuff. You know,
that's crazy.
Really impressive.
All right,
Google Camera, amazing stuff. Chad, you are up next, or should I say, you're up next? Get it?
You're up next.
Got it?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking about Google Trips. Everyone probably knows about TripIt, and this is Google's sort of competitor to TripIt. And I actually took a trip to Europe, took a trip to Ireland and Scotland and around. And this was invaluable. So not only does it do the normal TripIt stuff where it will collate all of your plans, all your what are those called?
Tickets and stuff.
Codes. Yeah. Here, let me pull up my
confirmation numbers and stuff.
Confirmation. There you go. Confirmation numbers. It'll pull all that up. It'll pull up what your next reservations are. It'll do all that for you, but it also gives you some really good information about the area. So you can see their reservations. Those are all your confirmation numbers, hotels, where they are, and Google Maps is kind of the perfect companion for that. But there's also other tiles on that main screen, like things to do, and that just kind of shows some general things in the area. One thing that I was like mind blown about was actually what it's showing right now, which is day trips, where it will kind of highlight the best things in the area, and you can choose what you can do in a day. And so it may have things, maybe you're there for 72 hours. It'll auto plan a walking trip for you to see tons of monuments, tons of things, and you can customize your trip if you don't like it. And then finally, it just gives you some really good information. And the very last thing is just emergency, what they call need to know. It'll give you emergency information, shopping, like it'll just I'd land in an area and I wouldn't even know what currency I was supposed to be using. And so it tells me about that. Just looking at my trip from Dublin, in my need to know section, I have that police is 999. I would not have known that otherwise. How doctors and clinics are kind of set up, 24-hour places, and what insurance you might want to purchase when you go. Shopping, it lets me know which currency I'm using, how to do tax-free shopping if I wanted to, the shopping districts in the area, money, which is which currency. It tells you the denomination. So banknotes come in 5, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s, 200s, 500 euros. Coins come in 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50. Like, these things are incredible to know when you are kind of landing, you don't have your bearings. Pulling up the trip app is really, really, really nice. Final feature that's really cool is that while you're still home, you can download your trip to your device. So if you don't have internet access, you can download all the data, and it's a pretty big hefty thing. So you can have that on your phone. So if you're on low connectivity, you can still get around. So,
that offline feature is invaluable, like you say, because you just never know when you're traveling whether you're going to have access to the internet at that point to have that information with you or not.
And even if you get a SIM card, sometimes it won't work for 2 hours. Like I've had that issue.
Yeah.
And being able to get back to the hotel would have been impossible. I mean, it wouldn't have been impossible. I guess I could have. It would have been very inconvenient. I would have had to ask someone, get someone else's phone. It would have just been a really big headache, and having that already downloaded on my phone was huge.
Absolutely.
And the funny thing is that part of the reason why we don't use Google Apps is because we have a wonderful show this week in Google that talks about Google as a thing, and we try to be Android focused and such a no-brainer. But there's something to be said about the magic that Google can do with its data, and what it knows about you and what it knows about the world, and then mix it into this algorithm, or mix it into this thing that presents itself into a travel-oriented app, or a news app, or whatever it might be. It's just it's the power of Android powered by Google that is just so amazing. Not to be too, too loving of Google.
Powered by Google. Good stuff. Google Trips is a wonderful app as well, so check that out. All right, Flo, returning winner from last week. What is your app du jour?
Last app of the year.
I did not bring Google Allo, unfortunately. It's also
we could have played the death music.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. I did, however, bring Files by Google because, and I feel bad, by the way, because I actually stole this one from Jason. This was his option, and then I had said something in our little email thread, and he was like, you can have it. So thank you, Jason, for letting me have it.
You reminded me, because once you wanted it, I was like, why did I put that in there? Maps is the one that I'm always talking about, so I'll do that.
Okay, all right. That makes me feel better.
It's all good.
So you guys know I'm 100% into the Google ecosystem. I'm coming to you right now from a Pixel book. So that is definitely an app that I use between my Pixel phones and the Pixel book. It keeps everything lovingly edited on all the different hard drives that I have, basically, because I just think of them as all like little hard drives, right? And it keeps me from having apps I don't use. It gets rid of duplicates on Chrome OS, which is awesome. It works as a file browser, which on Chrome OS is very appreciated, because as much as Chrome OS's file browser works, it is nice to have this as well. And of course, it also works on the Pixel the same way. And if I want to transfer files and I don't have like a dongle, or I don't want to deal with uploading it into the cloud, I can just do what is basically Wi-Fi direct between my phone and my Chromebook, and use this to transfer larger files. So Files by Google is just it's just a really helpful utility, and I like to extol its virtues, because I see these apps as sort of the way that Google tries to, bring like a cross-platform compatibility to its ecosystem. And that for me is just to have this blueprint for maybe other apps that are going to come in the future. I mean, we all know Chrome OS is growing, and I'm just super excited to see like the Android apps that help bridge the platforms between the mobile and the desktop, so to speak. So I think I like this app too, just because of the promises it brings for the future.
So literally, Flo, while you were talking about it, I was like, "Oh, is Files?" Because I'm on. I was on the Pixel, and then I moved to the OnePlus 6, and I'm gonna move to the OnePlus 6T. More on that in a moment. But as you're doing that, I'm like, I haven't even run Files on this phone, and I just freed up 4 gig on my phone. So thank you.
Exactly. I use it all the time.
Yeah, it cleared up a gig of app clutter. I think a gig and a half of duplicate photos, and then a little over 2 gig of photos that were already backed up with Google Photos. And I just freed all that up. Thank you, Flo.
Yeah, and I edit raw photos on the Pixelbook through Lightroom, and so anything that I've offloaded from the camera memory card on here immediately gets deleted because I only have so much space on the Pixelbook, and I don't want to have all those giant high-res photos just floating around if I don't need them. So yeah, I guess I do use it a little bit more on Chrome OS, but as a utility, it's just a way that Google just helps us out, and I appreciate it.
Thanks for helping us out, Google. And that is Files by Google. Thank you, Flo. Excellent choice. I almost feel like I needed to present it, but that's just because I love it, and you did a fantastic job, and I got my maps in there, and
Maps is your app.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, it all worked out.
I'm a little flustered because my shortened URL wasn't working, so I had to run through and do one that does. So I just changed it. I apologize because I know that makes your life a little more difficult, Victor. bit.ly/AAA poll 400 is where you want to go. bit.ly/AAA poll 400.
And for the 400th episode?
For the 400th episode, this was not my intention, but it turns out Google Plus polls don't support 6 apps or don't support 6 options.
And with the oncoming demise of Google Plus, which could be like tomorrow at this rate.
That's right. So I'm trying out a new option here with SurveyMonkey. So, I don't know. I'm sure there's some tweaking that could be done here, but you can go to bit.ly/AAA poll 400 and place your vote of your favorite app. Is it Google Maps, Google News, Files by Google, Google Photos, Google Camera, or Google Trips? Whole lot of Google.
And so when you vote on SurveyMonkey, you'll see the results after you vote.
So
right?
Let's see here.
Let's see if this works. Victor goes Google Photos, aligning with Gina.
And it will churn, and it will go.
And there it is.
Oh, so far,
the winner,
Google Maps with Maps. 1. Well, it's the beginning. Oh, no.
Google Photos
with 3.
This is not live, though, so deal with it. What? Just being honest. And then... we're not going to be back next week. So in January, we'll come back and we'll look and see all the results.
Which Google app is the winner? Yeah, that's right. Next week is, it's Christmas. A week from now, it's Christmas. A week from that is New Year's. So we're not going to be here for 2 weeks in a row. However, next week there will be a best of. We have a fantastic best of that Victor spent his awesome time editing, and I really appreciate it, Victor, as always. I hope it was a little bit easier this year. That'll be in the feed for next week in place of this
Before we
show.
start saying our goodbyes, it's been 400 episodes.
Yes.
I'm completely honored to be sitting here in this chair, but most of all, I think, and thanking Chad and Bryan and Gina and Flo and Victor and Eileen and everybody from the Twit family.
Alex
and Burke and keeping everything running. I want to make sure everyone gets thanked. But I think we all can agree and we all should celebrate the wonderful hard work and job that Mr. Jason Howell does week in and week out.
Yes.
The heart of the show.
Yes.
All right. So we wouldn't be here without Jason. Flo and I leave very busy lives, and Jason is always there. Even when he's not here, folks, he preps the doc for us when he can. I mean, like the little things. And Jason's one of the best people I know. So congratulations, buddy.
Thanks,
this is a legacy. You deserve it.
Thanks. But this is all of our shows.
Oh, yeah, it is. But you're the captain. So happy to be on the team.
Yeah, it's true.
And again, thank you, audience. You guys are the best at that.
You guys are the best.
400 episodes. Can we get that? Can we get that thing again, Victor? 400. 400.
Sure.
That's a lot. I've only been on one show that went over 400 already. This is my second 400 show. But
this was such a fun show, you guys. I'm so happy that you all could come on. I'm sad that Eileen could not make it. I don't remember if we mentioned it earlier. She was planned to come on up until this afternoon when she had to pull out. She's got the flu. She was like, I don't have it. And you know what? We're going to have episode 500. So we'll bring her on at episode 500. How about that? We hope, Eileen, that you feel better.
And with this being our last episode of the year, we spent more time with our reunion here and having fun with that. Maybe first episode in January, we do predictions for next year and we start doing kind of 2019. 2019 will be very interesting, especially for the All About Android family. So we'll see what will come.
Yes, you never know what's around the corner.
You never know what's around the corner.
So real quick goodbyes, because goodbyes are very difficult. OMGchad, OMGchad.com. Chad, thank you so much for hopping on, man. It's really been fantastic to see you again.
So happy to be here. This has been absolutely incredible. Love you guys so much. So good to see everyone again.
And awesome to hear how well you're doing, man. Keep it up.
Where can they find you? Or
yeah, sure. Where can they find you?
Sure. YouTube.com/OMGcraft. That's still going super strong. That's the most popular thing. Gizwiz.tv if you want to check out the Gizwiz podcast. And Twitter.com/OMGchad.
Twitter.
I realize that there might be new people who started watching the show like 3 months ago. Have no idea who half these people are. So
these are the faces of All About Android.
Find Chad.
That's true. That's a good point.
Every episode is someone's first.
That's right. Thank you, Chad. Bryan, thank you for sitting here in the flesh.
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. I missed this.
On this side of the camera, man.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I got to see you in person again, Ron. Although Flo, I missed you. I guess maybe some other time.
I'm in Petaluma every Tuesday.
What?
Yeah, it's true.
I'm usually in Palo Alto. Tuesday,
you could email tickets at twit.tv and sit in the audience if you like.
You have to review the application, though.
That would be awesome.
I had to sign a waiver when I came in and stuff, too.
Bryan, so great to get you here. Where do you want people to kind of follow everything that you're doing?
I mean, I'm still posting pictures on Twitter every now and then, so you can go to @cranky_hippo. I'm so out of knowing what to say because it was like second nature on Know How, But
promote yourself, Right.
But yeah, I just keep busy on my own thing, and it's good being back. Good to see everybody in the chat room. Miss y'all. So
yeah, right on.
See you around.
Thank you, Bryan. And Gina, of course. Gina, thank you so much for braving the cold elements of your basement to join us this evening.
This is so much fun. I really, really miss you guys and really had such a blast. Thank you for having me and congratulations on 400. That's such a huge milestone. I can't believe it's been like 7 years. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thank you, Gina.
I'm so glad I got to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, I was just going to say, and each and every person here is a part of the legacy, and we're just so thrilled of that fact.
Love our little family.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Gina, where do you want people to kind of follow everything that you're up to?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Gina Trapani. And, if you need a website or an app or something, check out my company. It's postlight.com.
Right on. Postlight.com, GinaTrapani.org. Thank you again, Gina.
Yeah, thank you.
And Flo, are you going to go back to sleep now?
I might go take a nap, or I might go watch some reality TV. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
I mean, you're probably wide awake at this point.
Flo's being Flo, even in Romania.
Exactly. Exactly. But so I'm kind of pretty much on a workcation. I'm doing a tiny little, just finishing up some projects while I'm here, but I'm going to go into full vacation mode as soon as I am done with that stuff. However, if you want to keep up with me, since All About Android is going to be off for the next 2 weeks, this is me putting in a little just a little plug for my other podcast on the Relay FM network, the Material Podcast, which Andy Notko and I will still be doing. And we're kind of using it as I'm going to do a little diary of what's going on here. Nice. So if you're curious, listen in. We post Thursdays. And other than that, come to FlorenceIon.com.
Right on. Thank you, Flo.
Thank you guys.
I hope you regulate your schedule and get some sleep.
So I actually went to bed at 8 p.m. and got up at 3:30 because I'm just so jet lagged. Yeah.
Oh, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I already got
that's 7 hours.
That's why I don't know if I'm going to go back to sleep or not. I haven't decided.
Stay up, power through it, and then your next time you go to sleep, you'll be totally on track.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Thank you, Flo.
Thank you,
Ron. Thanks for coming in, man, and extending your trip to stay in person.
There we are.
There
my old apartment in San Francisco.
Episode 1.
Oh, jeez, look at that.
What's up with your camera?
It was that.
Ron.
that model of TriCaster, when you did the duel, it didn't know how to scale properly.
Yeah, it wasn't my camera. It was the TriCaster.
Yeah, blame the TriCaster.
Oh, Eileen's the best.
It was the studio, I think. Yeah, we miss
back
you,
in the
Eileen.
day. First episode.
So, Ron, you're going to do a red eye.
I'm going to do a red eye. Going to sleep on the plane, go back to New York City tomorrow. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram, RonXO. You guys know it. And if you need another podcast to listen to over the holiday break, Finale Podcast is not taking a break. Our next episode is a Christmas gift to our listeners. First, this week's episode is about the TV show Mad About You. And for those who don't know, for those who don't know, Finale is a new podcast I'm doing with my lovely co-host Carrie, where we talk about the series finale of a beloved TV show that at least one of us has watched, and the other person has not. In this case, Carrie watched all of Mad About You. I had never seen an episode. Watched the finale, and it was pretty much bad. So I would listen to the discussion. But then next week we had our audience vote on an episode. So for Christmas we're going to be reviewing Newhart, which is a beloved series finale, if you remember. And that was a fun episode to record. So go to finalepodcast.com, subscribe. And thanks, everyone. And thanks to Twit and everybody. Love being a part of the show. Flo and I always say it's the highlight of our week, but it's true. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of 400 episodes. So, yay.
Right on. So good. And thanks to you, Victor. Seriously, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
You rocked it. You always rock it, and we really appreciate you.
Just glad to be part of it.
Well, it's great to have you on.
No offense, Brian.
Oh no, I'm glad to see the show in such good hands. I would never have made a episode 400 bumper. I would never have done the thermostat.
Yeah, I know. You were like bare bones minimum.
Yeah, right.
So, Victor, props.
Step up.
Props to you. No, Victor, you are awesome. Also, Alex, thank you for helping out today, especially everything was moving around.
A lot of moving pieces on
We
the
got
show.
a lot of moving pieces today, and really appreciate it. Also, big thanks. We have a guest here in the studio at CoReal on Twitter. What is your first name? Alex. Oh, I see.
you,
I was thinking that was your last name.
You've been
Sorry.
thanking him all
Alex
night,
here.
So, Alex, did you come knowing it was the 400th episode?
So it kind of lined up. Like I had a work trip that just landed.
So just kismet. It worked out.
And then Flo had mentioned something like 2 weeks ago about showing up, and I was like, yeah, why not?
Great.
Yeah,
Excellent.
right on. Well, it's great to have you here. It helps elevate everything as well to have someone watching in the studio.
This whole time I thought you were talking about Gumple, but I guess it was.
The Alex is right over there in the same area.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. You can find me all over the Twit network, although probably for the next couple of weeks it's going to be a little difficult because, at least over the next week we won't be doing many shows. They're all going to be best ofs, but I really hope you guys enjoy the best of that we have for this show. That will be in your podcast feed starting next Tuesday. And if you want to find me on the social webs, I'm on Twitter at Jason Howell. But that is it for this week and kind of this year. Leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us emails at twit.tv. You can find us on Twitter. We are at Android Show. We have all the apps we've ever reviewed in the arena at twit.to/Android apps. Show notes and past episodes can always be found at twit.tv/AAA.
We should thank everybody who helps us maintain those and do those.
Yeah,
and,
man.
All the volunteers,
So many
and audience
people.
folks. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's impossible to name everybody who's helped over the years because those responsibilities shift and change. But you guys, we have such an amazing community, and it's so great to have you guys in the chat room and communicating with each other around the show and creating bumpers. I mean, we have so many people to thank it's impossible. But thank you. You know who you are, and we really do appreciate you.
We love you.
That's it. I'm just gonna end it now because we've said a lot of thank yous. Have a wonderful holiday break. Have a wonderful new year, and we'll see you next year on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody.